just flew into town, and boy, are my arms covered in shitty tattoos. Just thought of that. It's off the dome. This comedy stuff ain't so hard. Woohoo! It's Critical Eats. Level 15. Level 15. Oh man, I am stoked. So, big shout out to the online creator known as BardFox, BardFox, for generously supplying us with music. Now, I miss the funk, you may be saying to yourself, if you're anything like me, because I miss the funk. But guess what, my friends? What up, David? guess what, my friend? My 5 people that watch the Matt Broussard coverage at this point, Jesus Christ, totally fine. Broussard, it's more of a remark on you than me, my man. Cope. So, why is the funk always gone? You may be asking yourself. Well, Epidemic Funk copyright claimed me after like months and months and months of using their stuff because it was royalty free. I've been using it ad nauseum, including when I just take a bathroom breaks. Well, it was curious too because Epidemic Funk, or the copyright people, the legal team at Epidemic Funk, didn't copyright strike me for the intro, which is the same song that got claimed, not stricken, sorry. Didn't claim me for the intro, which is the same song they did end up claiming. They claimed me for my piddle break one, where it's just the music playing. Which maybe it's because I didn't let 10 seconds go by. You know, maybe it's because I let more than 10 seconds go by without making any kind of remark. But I've done that several times on different videos, and it's never come up before. It feels like a warning. Moreover, it feels like a declaration of war! With a diminished minor 7 on there for extra effect. We're at war. We're at war with Epidemic Funk. Or so I thought until I Googled. There's an asterisk on this, but until I Googled, can channels that say royalty free do copyright claims? ? AI Overview says, yeah, they can. Just because it's loyalty free doesn't mean they can't issue copyright claims. It just means you don't pay per use. So, as they would say over in the realm of Asmongold, it was a skill issue. Skill issue, everybody. Give it up for Jippo, your loving host of this fine show, Critical Leaks. Anyway, this song is called Nauticopala. Good luck spelling that. There's a U. And it's over on BardFox. So go give them a subscribe. And I think they got a podcast over there. Pretty handsome host. So go check them out. Apparently the host is the same guy that makes this music. Cool. So, a climactic start. Critical Leaks. Cool. So first on our agenda today, our little show notes, we're going to get into some podcast cringe. Who has been covering some more Akash stuff. Now, I'll reveal who it is that we're going to be covering at the end, covering for our main event, the headliner of this. We'll announce that in a little bit here. But I have to give a forewarning that the podcast cringe coverage has nothing to do with that comedian whatsoever, but it is relevant to a previous level of Critical Leaks. Which one, you may ask? It's when we covered Akash Singh, as I mentioned earlier. And during that coverage, I was talking about how Akash's wife has made some comments over the last year that has a big part of the internet, all mad. Got them real worked up. You know, there are claims that she says they were both virgins when her and Akash got together and they lost their virginities to each other. But then there are comments she's made. She made a comment about how when she was in college, she was, trigger warning, popping her pussy for all kinds of boys, and she was like, oh, look, where I'm from, that's just an expression for going on dates and shit. And they were like, bullshit, and they Googled it, and that was what Urban Dictionary came back with. Anyway, so, internet got mad. She got upset that the internet was mad, started making more comments, and it got covered from podcast cringe to Jamari, if you know what I'm saying. Outside of just comedy fans, it got covered by like other internet drama content creator types like Jamari, Tan Superman. And then things got kind of quiet. You know, I put out my thing, and during my coverage I said that I think a big part of her reason for lashing out publicly against her husband, which is, by the way, their fucking business, but it was public, so I guess it's all of our business now. But I think a big part of her reason for lashing out at her husband, or not feeling bad that she's like, turned him into the biggest cock online, it's like because his whole act, I'll say, I'm being generous by saying 75% of his act is him being like, my wife is crazy. She's nuts, and I'm the smart one. And it literally is just shitting on her most of the butts of most of the jokes. And granted, there is one part where he's like, look, I love my wife. But largely, the entire special is just him being like, bitches, am I right? So I was like, you played yourself, Akash. That was the moral of that particular story. Akash, you brought this on yourself. I think he knows that. I think that's why he's kind of been mum's the word. But it's earned him a reputation as quite a beta, or a cuckold, as people have been misnomering him. So far as I know, I don't know what his, proclivities entail. Anyway, so it gets quiet for a while. But then Mrs. Singh, if that is indeed her name, she emerges again with more opinions, more things to say, and Podcast Cringe, who's a little starved for things to pay attention to, had this to say.
What people don't realize, like, I don't even want to say his name, but this loser whose name you said, like, he was on the Flagrant podcast like 5 years ago.
What I believe she's talking about is it's two guys from it's from the Fresh and Fit podcast, I believe. I think this is like Miles and Benji or some shit. I don't know. I don't follow this shit. It's not really my bag. They got into it with Akash because they came on to Flagrant and they were talking about the content that they make, which is very like, geared towards young men, how to pick up chicks and how to be the alpha cool guy. They weren't saying mog yet, but there's, teaching guys how to mog, folks, like we look smaxers do. So, that kind of like negging, that kind of advice, you gotta be the one that cares less, man, you gotta blah, 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 blah. And whether or not you subscribe to any theories that make that seem valid to you, I don't care. I'm just explaining the drama here. And so Akash called them out on Flagrant and was like, that's the most childish shit, man. He's a basketball guy, so he's, man, that's childish shit. Like, we all been hearing that. He tells him, you're not the first people to think of this. Imbeciles, I think, something to that degree. Imbeciles have been saying this. It's the dawn of dating or whatever. And this triggered a whole big beef betwixt the two parties, betwixt Akash and the Fresh and Fit boys. So when his wife made the comments about, like, popping her P word, Fresh and Fit latched onto it, and they were like, "You see, this guy's a cook, man." So that's like a big part of where that came from. So that's who she's referring to. She doesn't say the name of the person, but went on the Flagrant podcast and did what? Okay, yeah, her name is Jasleen. That's right.
You said, like, he was on the Flagrant podcast like 5 years ago, and my husband just humbled the shit out of him and basically embarrassed him because he was like,
Yeah. Okay, say what you will about it. This is a very supportive take. It is singing, with an H, singing Akash's praises, showing him in a very, ardent light. It's her take on this situation is very pro Akash. No one's talking about that, but that's what we do here.
I think what you do is corny, and it's not really helping men. So
that's pretty much what he said. I think he might have used the actual word corny. So
there's that. I mean, this obviously goes without saying, but the misogyny was like really crazy because
no one likes to hear that word. And especially because she kind of talks like I do, where we like kind of end our sentences and questions. She has a similar tone to her voice. And people especially hate to hear terms like misogyny from people who talk like that. Like by this point in the internet, you hear that voice going, misogyny was off the charts. And it's like, ooh, you are. I hear you, boys. And you are statistically probably men between the ages of 25 and 44. So I hear you. But bear with the story here.
Obviously, we know it exists in our society, but to see it so rampant and like full force and just like unapologetically there, hit.
Okay. Podcast cringe is cutting between clips here. That was just the second of the clips in this little section. The misogyny was rampant. So, again, it's an ugly word, but I imagine what she's referring to here is, people who are often misnomered as, incels, incelatory language, I believe it's a Mike David original. They were all over the comments, and they've commented on everything she's been in, and there have been channels talking about it, and most of them are being like, she embarrassed her husband, and that is, in essence, her greatest sin. Let me know in the comments if you've seen Jasleen kick a puppy. If Jasleen Singh me too'd you, let me know, bro. I believe men, but like, largely her crimes were saying things that went against the reputation of her husband. And I imagine that's where she's getting this term misogyny from, but speculation. Let's continue to listen.
His comedy fans are not like that. It's more the pod.
He has a lot of them. That video I was talking about earlier, his special, where he shat on his wife for an hour and a half, hour and 15, I think it was, has 3 million views. I'm no good at math, but that's like 3 million views more than I've ever gotten. It's a huge special. Akash Singh has a lot of fans, probably who filtered through the podcast. I don't really understand the industry over in New York super well, so I don't know. Maybe Akash blew up on the local scene and then made a huge name for himself outside of podcast fans. The delineation that she's making is still valid because there are probably people who are fans of his comedy that saw him through Flagrant who aren't necessarily Flagrant fans. Happens to me all the time. Broussard. Well, that's not a good example because I saw him on Story Wars and I love that show, but I digress.
Podcast fan base that I don't think really resonate with him because a lot of them are like really racist and right wing. I think like those.
Again, she. for someone who wants to be heard out, if that is her goal, she is not choosing her words carefully. That's wild. And the first time I listened to this, my fiance came into the room and made a very valid point. She was like, I don't know what went down or whatever, but getting online and talking shit about his podcast fans is a wild move. The whole, trying to be supportive of your spouse thing aside, you want to talk about poking the bear. I made the counterpoint, playing the devil's advocate of this is probably the most attention she's ever gotten online. I imagine she's seen that slump a little bit. Maybe that's what she's trying to do, is incite some kind of rage in the Flagrant podcasts. And frankly, if that's what she's doing, it's working. But again, if I'm her lawyer sitting next to her in a courtroom, I'm going I'm sorry, Your Honor. We're trying to not piss off everyone in this particular world. We're trying to do some PR work for you here, and you just keep kind of calling everyone misogynists and racists and bigots and and whether you're right or not, no one is going to listen to you. No one that doesn't already agree is going to listen to you after hearing those words. It's an immediate pull cord for them to be like, I don't care about what you have to say. You use words like that. For a while it was called woke. That's kind of fallen by the wayside. Now there's just a little less of a distinction, a little less of a distinct line between those two types of people. But there are, those two types of people exist. The kind that view the world through that lens, where they use those words unironically or sometimes quite accurately. And then there's the other type of person who, when they hear that, hates you now.
Of them are more like that. Anyways, I said those peripheral.
We'll go back a little bit.
Them are more like that. Racist and right wing. I think those of them are more like that. Anyways, I said those peripheral fans, they might come at us just because we're brown girls being opinionated and they don't.
See, again, this is language. If this is an outreach attempt, the language you're choosing to use is questionable.
Like opinionated women?
This is a Morgan & Morgan.
Of course, we have to listen to a Morgan & Morgan announcement before we can hear the sultry tones of podcast cringe.
Just when you thought the
it's not super sultry.
Akash Singh situation couldn't get any
this is sultry.
worse, his wife is back.
Okay, so corroborating my point, the gripe against this woman is that she is making her husband look bad. So she's back.
He's still missing, though. If you haven't been following, Akash, the co-host of the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz, has been getting absolutely destroyed online for the last few months.
By you. Yeah. Yep, by a bunch of people online. But, it cracks me up because Cringy will do this. I've watched everything he's ever done. I follow more cringe, and I follow podcast bites or cringe bites or whatever. I don't agree with everything he says, but on paper, I'm a fan. But Cringy does this thing I love about him, where he will spearhead the charge. In essence, in a lot of ways, kind of becoming the channel that was the vitriol on the Fighter and the Kid Reddit, and the Two Bears, One Cave Reddit, the homeless cats and all that. Sort of made himself the voice and spearhead, the figurehead of kind of that whole mentality. This is me doing next to no studying, just gleaning as I explore this world. Podcast Cringe will do this thing where he'll lead the charge against some guy or some gal or some group or some podcast, usually the same within 5 people on Podcast Cringe. We'll get to that. He'll lead the charge against them. His videos will rack up hundreds of thousands. Cumulatively, he has millions of views for videos that are like, "Christ, you finally crashed out forever." Brandon Shelby's dead. Like, now I'm putting a little of my own hyperbole on that clickbait, but that kind of statement, that type of video where the title makes that kind of clickbait-esque statement, he has millions of views cumulatively on those videos. So he largely leads the charge. And then part of his reporting, not that he claims to be a reporter, but part of his reporting is him being like, people are furious with Bert Kreischer. People have finally had enough of Bert Kreischer. He's sort of stating his own, his own actions that have happened. He's like, give you a good example from my own life. A little play along music. So I was on a bender, probably about a decade back. And I was out. We were partying for a lot of days, It was probably the third or fourth day we'd been going hard. And I should have been in bed for about 3 days. Well, we started off with a shot of tequila, which for me is just not my style. But what am I going to do? Yeah, I'll take a shot of tequila. It's probably some good tequila. We were partying with a guy who worked for the banks. Anyway, I shoot back this tequila, and immediately I know something is horribly amiss. I stand up, and I go for the bathroom. And I get the door open, and there's nobody in there. And suddenly, I made a horrific mess in this poor place. It was my doing, and it was atrocious. And I've worked in bars. I've spent most of my money-making time in bars in some capacity or another, so I knew that this was not a cool move. And who should walk in behind me but security? Probably saw me darting for the fucking door. But as we walked in, I turned around, and without skipping a beat, I said, somebody puked in here. So, Podcast Cringe is in essence doing the YouTube version of that, where he's going, Gah! And as soon as somebody comes in the bathroom, he goes, Bert Kreischer's getting a ton of hate online. You're like, didn't you just puke out all this Kreischerian hate? Like, well, anyway, back to the tequila. So I find it funny when he says stuff like this, where it's like, Akash's Akash is getting a ton of heat online. It's like, oh, is he? Cringy.
And it's all because of his wife, Jasleen. She started a podcast with a friend, said some of the wildest shit imaginable about her dating history,
The wildest shit imaginable was what I said earlier. Like, when I was in college, I had a roster of boys, and I was popping my pussy all over town. So far as I understand, it's girl talk. I don't know. I know you probably don't know either. Whatever. We didn't used to care about that. But now there's podcasts, and now it's like the boys are hearing the girl talk, and they're like, hey, what? You can't talk about us like that.
Relationship with Akash, her obsession with her friend's husband's cock, who she wanted to have a threesome with.
That was wild. That part's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, the co-host, she's like, kind of does openly fantasize about him and says stuff like, I bet he's so big. So, credit where it's due. But again, that's the kind of thing that gets like argued about in a car between a married couple. It's not usually shared by millions of dudes who are like, bro, you're letting her cuck you like this?
And basically turned Akash into the biggest joke in the comedy podcast world overnight.
Who did that, Cringy? Who was that? It's too early to be this worked up. Cringy is saying that he was turned into the biggest joke. But over this, when we just came out of the season, I talked about this on the Akash episode, but it's like I've said, we flew so high only to fall so low. It's like we were coming out of 2024. We watched the comedy podcasting realm affect the actual election. It affected the whole world. Rogan and Theo and Tim Dillon and all these comedians, and then there was guys who were against them, and then there was Riyadh, and like there was some damn good stuff to be reporting on. And all the while, Cringe is going, well, I hate Bait Kreischer, and Kreischer hate was hot then. And Brendan Shaw was kind of falling off, but he was really starting to harp on Bert Kreischer. And then out of nowhere, she says these pretty innocuous things, and now Akash is the joke in the comedy commentary community. And beyond, as I said earlier. Something seems a little off, doesn't it?
Myron from Fresh and Fit, who Akash had been beefing with for years, went to town on him after Akash tried to put him in his place years ago by shitting on the Red Pill community and using his pure and wholesome wife to flex on them. But
this brings me to an interesting point about language. The type of language that I'll call him a reporter again, but in this case, it's obviously drama commentary. He's not held to the same standards of like an objective professional reporter, or at least the way they should be. But in reporting, the types of words you choose, so say two countries are at war, and the media who's trying to report on this, if it's an objective thing, say, well, the enemy bombed this place, they used these planes, they used this amount of ordnance, this many people died. If you're trying to drum up sympathy for that cause, you might say something like, the enemy is being defiant in the way that they're approached. Like, defiant is a far more heroic sounding word. They're being defiant against the imperialists who are trying to take over them. Or if you're trying to drum up sympathy or trying to demonize your enemy, you might say something like, the enemy does it again, killing, hundreds of, using a little bit more hyperbolic language. You can really steer someone's perception, or at least kind of guide the people who aren't trying to establish their own opinions. They're just kind of trying to be told what to think, which sounds like a cop-out, but we all do it. It's like, what? This is happening? Whatever. I want to hear so-and-so's take on this. Not because I'm going to let them think for me, but because, it's helpful to hear things through the filter of someone who I have found that I agree with on a lot of things, right? And the language he's choosing to use here, Podcast Cringe is choosing to use here, is a little curious, and I think it's because he knows that this red pill community is among him. They are probably a big part, I would argue, of his fan base, or at least a big part of the fan base who's going to be tuning in to videos like this, getting him the views that a video like Bert Kreischer used to get him. ...
Then, after Jasleen continued with her humiliation ritual, stuck the knife in deeper and twisted it, Flagrant tried to address it in what I called the worst episode in...
Do you see what I mean? He's definitely illustrating. Stuck the knife in and twisted it.
Flagrant history, where Jasleen came on the show, rewrote her own history in real time, blamed everything on being misunderstood, and...
Okay, the thing is you can never satisfy them all. I imagine if nothing had been said after, this is them addressing it, right? That would be what someone like me wants. I want to hear what someone has to say in response to these things. Other people will tell you that it's a better idea to not address it at all and just do the whole Mr. Beast thing. When it was like, wait a minute, one of my fellow video makers and dear friends just got in trouble for some crazy shit. Beast Games is pretty sweet. And it worked. Seemingly it worked, just to make that go away. But if I were a fan of Mr. Beast, I would feel a little bit cheated that he didn't talk about it at all. I imagine a lot of people did and do, but I would argue it's more damning it would have been more damning for Flagrant and Akash and Ghislaine, it would have been worse for them to just say nothing and ignore the comments. 'Cause don't you hate Joe Rogan for doing that? Don't you hate Rogan because he's always advising people not to read the comments? Like, again, I don't know what he wants out of here.
And somehow, some way, left Akash looking even worse than before.
Sort of subjective, but it's your opinion. That's fine.
At that point, Akash was done.
Done how? Let's hear him out. Done how? Because you got to keep in mind, Cringy is the king of being like, Bert Kreischer is done. Yeah, he had one of the top 10 Netflix shows. The top one in comedy for like a while. He's definitely getting a second season, but he's finished. Well, to be fair, it's like it's not finished. Finished how? Maybe Akash. Again, I don't follow Akash, so I don't know. But Flagrant's still making money, right? Like, you guys are all still talking about it, right? Done how, Cringy. And can we get a definition one of these? Because if you want to take liberties with the language and you want to change how words are used, alter definitions, if you will, I'll allow it. You're welcome. But I'll allow it. You just gotta let us know what it means now. What is done to you? Like, is crashing out? Because we have a word for that, right? They've just made it up. It's brand new, hot off the presses. It's called a crash out. But done? Did he quit the podcast? Has he announced? Did he Schaub style say, fuck it, I'm done with comedy because people like you got him to quit? Which inherently led to his podcast crumbling. ...
You guys voted him the lolcow of the year for 2025.
Oh, well, if the podcast cringe fans did it. Lolcow of the year. Bill Burr had been a good one. Just with the Riyadh stuff. Say what you will about the situation. His reaction to it has been wild. But you don't really hear Cringy talking about that too much. I've mostly heard about that through Too Lazy to Try. As though there's a bias there. And then there was Bert Kreischer. Bill Burr got 15%. Bill Kreischer got 21%. Joe Rogan, it says tall and funny scientist. He got 12%. But Akash Singh got 53%. So, all right. Again, I'm amongst the podcast cringe fans. If that's democracy, baby. I guess he's the lolcow of the year in 2025. Sure.
On this channel, and the only sensible thing for Ghislaine to do was disappear, stop talking, and hope everyone would forget about the whole thing when Akash finally came back from
the best thing that she could do to preserve her husband's reputation was to stop talking.
Tour. But no, she can't even do that because
she can't even keep her mouth shut.
Like every other attention-seeking influencer who gets caught out, she physically cannot cope without the spotlight. Instead of disappearing, she popped up on a brand new podcast this week to clear the air, and somehow in the space of 1 hour managed to make everything worse.
Yeah, this bitch didn't get quiet and let us talk and let us decide how we feel about her marriage. And also, is he supporting her husband? She won't shut the fuck up. Literally, this bitch, she said. Then she has the nerve to get on this episode and call us misogynists. It's like, I don't know, man. You know what? Let's leave it to Webster Merriam. Let's go find us a definition. Misogynistic. Strongly prejudiced against women. Well, Oxford, you kind of shit the bed on that one. It's like, strongly prejudiced against... You understand what I'm saying, right? Like, come on. This bitch dares to call me a man a misogynist. It's just... You can at least see where she's coming from. If what we're doing is moderating and we're trying to hear both sides out and get to the bottom of the problem, the root of the issue, Can we not see why she thinks that you and your red pill friends calling her bitch and telling her that the best thing she can do for her husband's career is to shut the fuck up and disappear? Can we not see why maybe she feels that way? I don't know that she's right, but can we not at least... This gives us a peek into her psyche, at least a little, right? Come on, that music makes you want to agree. It's so nice. It's so calming.
Again, except this time...
That's for me. I need to keep myself whelmed as we go. We got a long show ahead of us, my friends. In fact, halfway through our coverage of the comedian yet to be announced, we're going to be reading the autobiography of Corey Feldman, Choreography. We'll be setting it to some music. It'll be a whole experience. You're gonna enjoy it. It's one of my favorite things that we do here on this show.
Time she's not just humiliating Akash, she's going after his audience, his fans, and anyone who dared to criticize her. This is
Okay. Aren't we kind of doing the thing? Aren't you doing a little bit as she started it, he started it? I don't know.
some wild shit you're about to see. I can't even get a fucking day off this week. Anyway, here's the thing with Jasleen.
He can't get a day off this week. I won't lie, it makes me a little curious. Because... yes, he has these other channels that he's just recently started. But Podcast Cringe was built and based around a very specific part of the Rogan sphere, being the aforementioned Bert Kreischer, Brendan Schaub, little Tom Segura here and there, Brian Callen, who's on the show with Schaub. Those guys. But Brendan Schaub quit comedy. Again, cringy. Kind of, you were a component to that movement, certainly. And I'm sure you're proud of that. And, you know, by some standards, I think you definitely should be. You had an effect on the world that you sought out to have upon it. Be proud. But Schaub's gone. Callen just did his special. It got poo-pooed by all of you. It's now renowned as like one of the worst specials. I have to wonder what you're judging that on. I haven't gotten to my coverage of it on here. Frankly, because Callen keeps coming out and saying some fucking crazy shit. He was doing some like Epstein apologist bullshit a few weeks back. Like, it's hard. I understand why they call his work bad. Because they don't like him. And there's good reason to not like him. He's probably a bad guy. But if we're judging his work, Death of the Artist and all that, just his work, I can point out to you what's good about it. And I would be curious to hear a special that in the last 5 to 10 years, is there anything you do like? I'd be curious to hear what you think is a good special, because by saying that his is bad, you acknowledge you know what's good, or that you recognize something within you that you like about a special. So show me what's good, and I'll use that to come up with the metric, and then use that metric to show you why Callen's is not bad. It's not bad. There are some very clever, unique writing techniques that he uses that I haven't seen many people utilize to that degree. But anyway, Schaub quit comedy. Callen's special tanked and is review bombed, as some people might phrase it. And so their show that they have together is just veritably dead. And the last coverage he did talking about it, Schaub was pretty much being talked into continuing to do it by his producer. But he's like, I don't know, man, we had a great run, 7 years, the numbers we used to hit. We did it, Bubba. Like, we're good. But that does take away one of your crucial resources, Podcast Cringe, doesn't it? If you're a creature out there in this environment, and that was one of your sources of water, that's sort of dried up, right? Because without that podcast or those two guys being relevant, can't really talk about them and still get these big views. Gulp. Because with The Fighter and the Kid, Callen and Schaub veritably gone, that leaves Podcast Cringe's coverage to be almost exclusively about Two Bears, One Cave and Bert Kreischer shit. Tom Segura, they kind of left alone after he backed off from his comments about the poors years ago. Tom Segura's kind of been distancing himself from Bert in that way, and as accordingly, doesn't really get nearly as much shit. Oh, I mean, 4% of the shit that Kreischer, his fellow host on Two Bears, One Cave, gets. But Bert Kreischer kind of made it. I mean, like, he went and did his Netflix show. Brother, it is not without its flaws, but it did really well. And so to be like, he's crashing out, or he's finally done, you can't really do that, because one of them you took out, but the other one kind of beat you. The other one beat your anti-Kreischerian propaganda. I know I'm being dramatic, but hear me out. He beat your anti-Kreischerian propaganda and is now making Netflix money and doing Netflix shows, and is, you know, his not only that, but his tour, Bert Kreischer hires your favorite comedians, your Mark Normans of the world, to go do his tour and ride on his bus. like to say that he like crashed out, didn't make it, he's done, that just doesn't apply, right? But if those two shows and those four artists who made up those two shows are no longer doing the thing that you were commenting on, well, what options does that leave you? Your other pool is now dry. And so in a desperate attempt to get himself the resources he needs, I think he's doing a bit of a rain dance. I think he's out there trying to make some rain happen. And frankly, in my eyes, it is just as desperate, and you got just about as good a chance as making Akash be your new Brendan Schaub-esque lol cow as you do is, you know, beating on a drum and making it rain, man. You killed your own cash cow, cringy. You want to talk about a Mike Davidism? He's that's what he was talking about. It's like, you don't want them to stop. You want them to keep making the thing you're making fun of. Otherwise, you got to go find something else to make fun of. And in the case of Akash Singh, some of your more loyal on paper fans can't really buy it. I'm not really, nuh-uh, man. This is reaching. This is desperate. Who cares what she said? She could get on there and be like, everyone is dumb, and I'm great, and fuck everything that you love, and I love everything you hate. And it still wouldn't really matter, not in the way that it used to with Schaub and Kreischer, right? So part of his attempt to make this rain happen is these other channels, More Cringe and Podcast Bites and all that, because he's branching out. Because his Podcast Cringe audience, although titularly speaking, he gave himself the license to talk about any podcast that he finds cringy. But his audience doesn't want to hear that shit. The not red pill guys over there who are like, they're just down, I guess, to hate, because I'm sure this did well, right? It's 218,000 views from 3 days ago, 5.8K likes. You know, it's doing okay. I think a lot of people, probably a lot of those views, the second time I've seen it, you know, probably a lot of those views are people who are like, oh, Podcast Cringe, what's he have to say? Because we remember the good old days, man. We remember back when you might hear something fucking crazy, and for a while, you know, it was one of the more interesting places to find online. So I think that's about enough of Podcast Cringe for now. So let's go ahead and introduce our comedian today. It is a man by the name of Gary Owen. Yay, Gary Owen, metaphorically, come on down. It's just a thing that people who do talk shows say. I'm not stealing it from anyone that's cooler than me. No. Gary Owen, who, until Googling it, I thought was the guy from Breaking Bad. I thought he was the Hank. I thought he was the cop from Breaking Bad. He's not. Totally different guy. Doesn't even really look like him. Just the thumbnail that he chose to use for his special. It's like a half profile. It looks a lot like the dude. Similar facial features, we'll say. Anyway, Gary Owen, upon Googling who is Gary Owen comedian, Gary Owen, born Stephen Owens. Weird to go with Gary, but I'm sure there's a story there. Is a popular American stand-up comedian and actor. He is known for his high energy. Excuse me in advance. Beep this. Excuse me, would you? He is known for his high energy stage presence, relatable, family-oriented humor, and for being a white comedian who has cultivated a massive black following. Can I ask why Google AI, this is really strange, capitalized black? I don't understand. I mean, not to be whatever. It could have been any other color that they chose not to capitalize, but white is not capitalized. Being a lowercase white comedian who has cultivated a massive capital B black following, it's just funny. I'm not even like, this is an indignance. I'm just like, it's a weird choice for a robot to make. I'm going to screenshot this, and who knows, maybe I'll turn this into a video. I've been kind of seeking the resources to be able to start putting out shorts of these, just chopped up, and then like the Matt McCusker coin thing is one I've been kind of working on, whereas I make a point on the show that I can, like, in editing, splice in some proof and all my screenshots and clips and all that. But that's down the road. Anyway, he was dubbed Black America's favorite white comic by Ebony Magazine in 2011. So, okay, sounds good. I'm actually excited. He has over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. His special, which came out 7 days ago, has 1.3 million views. The dude's fucking huge. And distinctly, notably, not the guy from Breaking Bad. I know that now. So I Google, Gary Owen podcast appearance, hoping maybe he'd been on Rogan or something. We like to cover people on Rogan. They get all stiff and kind of funny about it. But it's better than that. He has his own podcast. Would you believe me if I said it's better than that? It's called Get Some. It's not making any noise right now, but I think that might be an equipment issue over here. Let's try it again. It's called Get Some.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary with the Get Some podcast, and my guest this week is...
Gotta take this out of here, otherwise I'll get copyright. Please. Intro music. Okay, I recognize a couple of these people.
This motherfucking Gary.
Okay, I know her from Always Sunny. A very long intro of people thinking Gary's very funny. Get Some with Gary Owen. And the O in some is a little play button. Pretty fun. Okay.
Yo! What up?
Oh my God. So, that whole exorbitant introduction song, very high quality production, cuts to him being like, "Hi there." I genuinely, he's clearly just in his bedroom on the little desk next to maybe an Airbnb from the 50s, but it's got a big bedpost and everything. I don't know. He's clearly in some room. I don't know if this is the norm. I haven't listened to any. That was the first time I've ever heard his voice. So let's see what he has to say.
This is Gary Owen, Get Some podcast.
Good start.
Well, I've had an amazing week.
Please take a drink of water, Gary. I can hear every click your tongue is making, and it drives me insane.
I got married.
Oh shit, he got married last week. Oh, it says right here. I got married last weekend and dropped a special. Cool. Let's hope he talks about those things.
My special's out on YouTube called No Hard Feelings.
His no special is called No Hard Feelings. Can confirm.
Went over 1 million views in 4.5 days. Well, 4 hours, 4 days and 19 hours to be exact.
I respect that he admits that he knows that, you know? Where he's like, of course I was paying attention to that. Again, why wouldn't you be? All this feigned humility you get from the Gen Xers. This is from, what's up, Jake? This is from the podcast. And we just started.
Is when we went over 1 million views. So
it would be terrible if this was the beginning of his special. I'm glad you asked.
Thank you to everyone that watched it. This will be a sorry. Oh my god.
Oh my god too, Gary.
This will be a wedding heavy episode. If you're wondering where I'm at, I am currently in Little Rock, Arkansas in my hotel room recording.
Okay, hotel room. Sweet. Almost nailed it.
I'm show tonight in Little Rock. Friday night I will be in Shreveport, Louisiana. And then Saturday,
You gotta love that this is just the norm now. Some of them have kind of moved past this and figured it out. Content is much louder than you. Thank you, Jake. That is a huge help, and I appreciate that. I'll bring it down a little bit. Cool. You real appreciate you. This has become the norm. There are some people that have sort of moved past it, where you'll hear them just be like, hey, check my website for my dates. But it is so normalized at this point for comedians to get on and spend the first 10 minutes or so, maybe a little exaggeration, but 10 minutes or so, just going, I'm going to be in Little Rock, Arkansas on March 31st. April 1st, I'm going to be in Memphis, Tennessee. April 2nd, and they'll just rattle them all off. I don't know. I won't lie, okay, credit where it's due. It has made me look up people's dates before, where I've been like, oh, okay, he's going to be in my town. I might as well check out, blot it up. So credit where it's due, and I really can't be bothered to get on a website, but it feels discourteous. Yeah, like you said, Jake, I kind of caught myself at the end there. It's not it's an understandable move that I have to admit has worked on me. I want my meat and potatoes, but I don't want to have to pay for it. Does that make sense?
Lake Charles, Louisiana, and No Hard Feelings tour is in full swing. Took a week off to get married. If you're wondering what this is, that's a sty in my eye.
He's pointing to his eyeball here.
So this was my drama at my...
I like this. Okay, first of all, this is episode 313. So he's been doing this a minute, and you can tell he's very comfortable. And clearly, again, has established a fan base. So, no points deducted for just being in a room and maybe not having the best sound quality. Yeah, I'm not here to judge people on that. But I do want to hear him talk about this special.
My wedding. I had a sty. I've never had a sty before in my life. I had a sty. I felt it coming on the week before.
Oh, go ahead and skip the medical stuff here.
Called my day of the wedding. Sent me to an eye doctor surgeon. And they said normally they would, sty is just like cream. Oh, this wet days had to go on.
He's still... All right, it's only been a minute or two, but I don't want to hear the story
off your taxes
about this style. And we fast forward our way right into an ad break. And this is one of those good old-fashioned unskippables. But we have kind of learned a lot about him already, just from gleaning, right? We know he's very casual about his approach to his fans and such. His podcast is there to kind of update people on his life, which means he has a loyal fan base. That's cool. It's a little bit of a throwback model, you know. Louis J. Gomez says that podcasts with structure are the way of the future. And our Prime Minister, Tony Hinchcliffe, agrees. Hail Hinchcliffe.
Oh. But I also think if you got a good woman and you know, obviously if you get married, you think she's the one forever.
Marriage
and
stuff.
I'm lucky enough, and
which is cool, great, you know, honor thy lady is good advice.
We set out a budget, and we made a dream wedding /
wedding.
It's up
We're
to
skipping
Caroline.
around. I just if he talks about his special in here, I'd like to hear his take on it. So we'll skip around till we find it.
And she came in January of 2025.
Skip it a couple minutes ahead. Okay, Gary.
And we were so tight. People don't realize we filmed Think Like a Man in 2011. We did a press junk in 2012.
Okay, I think he's talking about the tour or the especially.
Kev, I got an idea. Could be crazy, could be stupid. I don't know. Told him, hey, get married March 7th, 2026. I don't think all of us guys from Think Like a Man have been in the same room since 2014.
I imagine that's a show he used to be on. If you are aware of his discography, his previous work, feel free to let me know in the comments /chat.
And we were so tight. People don't realize we filmed Think Like a Man in 2011. We did a press junk in 2012.
Okay, I think he just invited them to his wedding. We're still on wedding stuff. We're about 9 minutes in right now.
Man, I told them all, like, we all haven't been together. It'd be a great reunion. I miss you guys. And everybody was in.
Sweet. Seems like that's probably the end. You don't know who this is. Yeah, I didn't either. I don't know if you heard me say, but I mistook him for the cop from Breaking Bad. They have a similar face.
He was just like, yo, I want to get you online with this guy. We can't move the stuff around. And so, you know, I understand in this business it happens. It's disappointing, but it's no...
How many views does this have? This has 17,000 views. He has a very loyal fan. I find it crazy that I haven't heard of him either. And apparently he has... you didn't even know his name. Yeah, I didn't. I also didn't. It's pretty straightforward. And the thing is I haven't heard it on other podcasts. I haven't, like... There are some comedians who are in my periphery because they get brought up. You know, people talk about them. They're, you know, Ronan Hirschberg's a great example. I mean, it's a name I didn't know before he put out his special, but it's a name I didn't know, but I had heard Joe List talk about it. And you still don't know his name. His name is Gary Owen. Gary Owen, spelled like it sounds. And yeah, and he's not even one of the like periphery comedians that I've heard of. But this is hopefully getting to where he's talking about his special, and then we'll jump right on into this thing.
Terrence and Will, I'm like, these guys are great fathers, they're great husbands, they're great friends.
Yeah, for context, I like to go over a podcast that the comedian has done, just to get to know them a little bit. Helps provide context for the jokes we're going to hear in a minute, but we're going to be jumping into that special pretty soon here, so stick around, Jake. I like you.
I just enjoy being around them. We never, Kev included, we never had an argument.
Okay, I'm not sure who any of these people are, so I imagine for his fans it's quite interesting.
You know, politics and
something on screen like a name of the comedian of the podcast. Thank you for that suggestion. I appreciate that. Yeah, that makes total sense. Jake is advising that I have some kind of visual element or aid. You know, eventually, someday I'd like to have, you know, the screen behind me or something. But just having something where it says, like, their name or the name of the podcast could be helpful. And I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you, Jake.
You know, we don't know what's going on with these bombs getting set off. And it was just...
This is not the special stuff.
Sweet. When I went to Terrence's wedding in Dubai, it was like,
Talk about your special, Gary. Hey, hey.
hey, this podcast is brought to you by Blue Chew.
Blue Chew, never heard of it. Is there anyone in the world that doesn't know about Blue Chew? They've been cramming that down our throats for so long. I feel like anyone, if you like can't get a B, you're probably like, Blue Chew, it's safe for hearts and men, or whatever. They're always going on about this shit. Blue Chew's been making the podcast rounds for a long time. You always see those, there's always the better helps and the like, gotta get that bag, I hear you. As a fellow rich man. I just have this sitting here for effect. Cold hard cash, just laying around, I'm gonna look smacks in, get that bag kind of fella.
He was singing our announcement, how, I'm gonna have Bum B. I'm not Bum B. I want to have the players anthem play.
Okay, I guess I have just realized something about this backstory segment. It's way better if they're being interviewed by someone. Their Bill Burr style, kind of alone with their thoughts model doesn't work as well for the getting to know them, because it's usually more of like a journalistic, or, kind of an update, notebook style.
Give our speeches, right? So I have my boy T-Row.
Speeches. All right, we're 30 minutes into a 42-minute podcast, and he hasn't talked about the specials so far as I can tell. But he's happy about his wedding. I don't blame the fucking guy.
And then...
See, I'm a good faith fella. Giving benefit of the doubt as I go.
Cut the cake. And then the DJ played a song.
I imagine this is not from the special, unless it's a special with cake.
Work out. If we don't work...
All right. Gary, unceremonious though this may be, we're jumping right into your special, my man. So grab yourself a beverage and let's rock and roll on this Gary Owen No Hard Feelings 2026 full special. Came out 7 days ago. Take it away, Gary. This I'll probably have to turn up a little bit, huh?
Okay.
Let me know how the levels are, Jake, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that was a good ovation. Thank you for that. It's probably what Diddy's gonna feel like when he gets out of jail.
It's probably what Diddy is going to feel like when he gets out of jail. Okay. Another thing we like to do here, let's go ahead and check out when this was released. When this was filmed. Ronan Hirschberg is one of the only comedians I've seen that does that, and I think it's so important because showing us when you filmed it rather than just the release date justifies some of the dated nature that can happen when you use topical things like this. Like Diddy joke is like, oh, okay. We're on to way different shit now. I mean, it's still in the ether, you know what I mean? But like, we're already to the point where you can't hear Baby Oil without thinking Diddy Party, right? So having that in the description of your comedy special, this was recorded at the end of 2025. So it gives you, again, it provides a little more context for these topical jokes. That opens with a Diddy joke.
Been a wild year with that dude. I watched that 4-part documentary on Netflix.
By the way, he is in a theater here, but it is a big one. I think I see smoke. Maybe this is fog or the like, but it doesn't look thick enough to be intentional.
That was pretty entertaining. And then I was watching the trial last year. When it was all said and done, after everything came out, the only thing I got out of everything was my sex life ain't shit.
Interesting. Okay, weird take on that, but I didn't see it coming. My expectations have been subverted. He's wearing kind of a tight in the sleeves suede jacket. He's got a gold chain thing on. It's pretty thick. Probably weighs about as much as all my rings collectively. Wow. Got a nice watch on, some kind of, worn in jeans. Nothing too fancy, but as we learned while watching his podcast, it's kind of his style, right? Is not so many pomp and frills surrounding this Gary Owen character.
Everything came out. The only thing I got out of everything was my sex life ain't shit.
So, okay, I get that. That's funny.
I'm in a damn Disney movie next to Sean. Some of the stuff I was shocked at that came out, though, like the fact that he was picking up male escorts off Craigslist. If anybody I would have thought would have had somebody he could have called, it was...
I gotta say this about the editing here / the direction. So it was an interesting move because it looks like they filmed it on maybe 2 or 3 cameras from a fixed distance on a tripod, which might seem like, that's all you need, right? You can get it from 3 different angles. But when they do these zoom ins, which editors like to use for these specials, they'll do a zoom in to kind of like help articulate it, and then they'll cut to wide for the laugh. It makes you kind of feel like you're being pulled in, and then you're part of the, you're part of the diegetic laughter in the track, as most of it probably is diegetic or born from the scene itself. What's interesting with that, though, is that when you do those zoom-ins and you don't have a camera person zooming in manually, you're left with the option of doing it in post, and there's a fogginess and a grain that kind of goes along with that, where you'll have an HD shot from back here, but when you crop it into a zoom in the edit, the shot isn't as clear. It's not as, the focus is a little off. The whole thing feels way more 2006 TV. And that's what I'm seeing here. It's at 51 seconds in. I can already tell they don't have like a live camera person, because for this zoom shot, this is just cropped.
Sean, but no, he's just like us, just scrolling through his phone.
Let's go back, because I don't know. I got distracted. I don't know what he's talking about.
List. If anybody I would have thought would have had somebody he could have called, it was Sean, but no, he's just like us, just scrolling through his phone.
I don't know why. It's just so funny to call. It's always a little strange when people use celebrities first, like calling Brad Pitt Brad, or Timothy Chalamet Tim. It's like, it's a casual approach to it in any case, but especially in the case of Diddy. I don't know. Does it feel weird? Let me check the dice here. It does. It feels weird.
What you think of him? They call him the Punisher. He got good reviews.
I see. So this is him scaling for scrolling Craigslist for male escorts. Got good reviews.
Then
those classic Craigslist product reviews.
the fact that he was having 72-hour freak
I'm nitpicking. I know I'm nitpicking. Let's hear him out.
offs. I thought he was busy. He had a lot of free time. And who wants to fuck somebody for 72 hours? If a girl's in my hotel room on Friday and she's still there on Monday, we got a problem. Go home. Do something with your life.
Okay. Okay. That's a pretty specific brand of Gen X dude humor. Maybe doesn't ring my bells. I'm sure Jasleen Singh's not going to be stoked on it, but cool, the crowd's loving it, so. And this does sound organic. You can kind of tell in an edit when they really bump up the laughter, because even if they're not piping it in, which is adding more laugh tracks in post to make it seem like the comedian's doing better than they did, or get the bigger reaction that comedian thought they wanted, were supposed to get, or whatever. That aside, not adding it in post, there's a trick people do where they really mic the shit out of the audience, which is a good idea, except then in post they turn up the volume of the audience laughter, so it's thunderous every time. But hearing it now in Gary's, where it just sounds like the level you'd hear laughter at if you're sitting in the theater. There's kind of a roll of it, kind of builds in places, and then other people get it, and it swells a little bit. It feels a lot more organic. So when he nails it and everyone loses their minds, it's going to feel that much more distinguished as a moment. it's going to be that much more like, oh, damn, he's killed that one. Rather than all of them being right here the whole time. It's, you know, we'll call it a stylistic difference, but I think I prefer Gary Owen's approach to it here.
I think the stars of that documentary and the stars of the trial was the male escorts. I believe everything they said. I don't think they were exaggerating, you know, because some of the stuff they said was kind of mind-blowing, though. Like, one male escort was on the stand and said during one of the freak-offs, he looked over, Diddy was naked, and Diddy's penis looked like a Tootsie Roll.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
Oh, that is not the candy you want your penis to look like. Have you ever seen a Tootsie Roll? They're kind of little.
So we have another shot. I'm going to jump over all that Gen Xer shit. This reminds me of being in a work truck next to a boss that, like, I get along with, but that's because I'm fucking nice. Like, it's like, you don't want your penis being compared to a Tootsie Roll. They're kind of little. And you're like, yeah. Tootsie Rolls sure are. I mean, the small ones really are. I guess even in the case of, like, a long one. Anyway. Yes, I did. I literally just heard that this morning. Yeah, I've not loving that I heard that. Not mine. Not in mine. Okay, yeah. Sure, Jake. Mine either.
And even the long ones, they got no girth to them.
Only, he said, not in mine. Only macroplastics. Megaplastics, even. Nailed it.
And listen, Tootsie Roll's gotta be one of the worst candies on the planet. I've never heard nobody say, damn, that was a good-ass Tootsie Roll, I was gonna say.
Tootsie Rolls had their time. I'm sure there was a time when Tootsie Roll was king, but by the time we millennials showed up, candy bars had really gone a long way.
Listen, if your kids go trick-or-treating on Halloween and they come back with a bag full of Tootsie Rolls, they're gonna be like, fuck this neighborhood, Mom!
Tootsie Rolls do tend to be the last thing in the candy bag. I think that's a unique, there's gotta be a word in German or something for that. Of the, like, the feeling you get when you look in your bag of Halloween candy and it's only Tootsie Rolls and a few peppermint patties.
So just try to remember that. Next time you're at CVS, you're walking in.
I gotta say this, credit where it's due. Jake, the shit you said in chat is literally funnier than anything I've heard Gary say.
The candy aisle.
But we're only 2 minutes and 30 seconds in. Again, I try to do these in good faith. Let's hear them out.
You look over, you see that bag of Tootsie Rolls. Just know that's basically a bag of Diddy Dicks.
The way he said that is, that made me laugh. That bodes well for the rest of the show. Because although saying, like, that's a bag of Diddy Dicks isn't funny, like him saying, that's a bag of Diddy Dicks is like, he understands that delivery can be a huge heavy lifter in this. And when you start to see that early on, I tend to enjoy these specials longer, farther in. Because, again, it comes down to not only the writing, but that's what I think part of the reason I'm fascinated by this art form is writing, as they say, brevity is the soul of wit. So, like, writing a tight joke is a very specific, very difficult type of writing. But not only that, you have to also have the prowess as a performer. So to take what you've written that you know is funny and to deliver it in the way you hear it in your head and in a way you know people are going to respond to it positively is, I would argue, just as hard as refining a good joke, as learning to tell a good joke in a way that's funny. So he's at least got the latter half, though I haven't. Again, I do get dragging my cigarette and just kind of trying to get to the work site vibes so far. Another one of these cheap Zoom tricks. But as I was saying earlier, there's a camera from down in the audience, a camera shot from down here. It makes it feel like there's a cameraman in the crowd. I don't know if there is. We'll see.
Look at all them Diddy Dicks next to that
Oh, it's moving. All right. Fair enough.
Sugar-free Lily's candy that nobody buys.
We're back.
Look at all them Diddy dicks next to that sugar-free Lily's candy that nobody buys. Facts.
Sugar-free Lily's candy that nobody buys. Again, his delivery is good.
I think every entertainer over the last year or so has been asked that question. We've all been asked, have we been to a Diddy party? Anybody been to the after-hour Diddy parties? And I've been...
Jesus. He's that famous. He's so... Gary Owen is apparently so popular that people are asking if he'd ever been to a Diddy party. And I had never heard of the man. What do they call that? A perception gap or a... Anyway.
Been asked, and no, I've never been to any of the after-hour Diddy parties. I've been to a couple of the nightclubs when Diddy had parties. You know, got invited a couple times to those house parties, but my schedule didn't line up. Woo! Dodged the bullet!
Blind spot. Nailed it, dude.
I think the closest
Shout out, Jake. It was blind spot I was thinking of.
I ever went to go to one of them after-hour Diddy parties was like right when I got to LA. So this is like 99 era, right? So I remember I went to a nightclub. I was with my buddies. When I walked in the nightclub, I started talking to this girl. And we talked all night. And then right before the club closed, my boys came over. And they was like, yo, Gary, we got to invite the Diddy's house when the club closed. Did you want to go? I was like, hell yeah.
See, he does, again, there's a degree of similarities between his face and the cop from Breaking Bad. He's got more hair, to be fair, than Hank did.
And they was like, yo, Gary, we got to invite the Diddy's house when the club closed. Did you want to go? I was like, hell yeah, I want to go. I looked at the girl, I said, you want to go? She's like, no. She said, I just want to go with you. I was like, oh. So we didn't go. So here we are, 26 and a half years later. It's crazy how that one-night stand saved my asshole. Look at God.
It's interesting, his delivery. It kind of does these, like, half voices. I can appreciate that, you know. It's adds a little character.
And that was the one-night stand men dream about. Because I did not know the girl before that night. We had an amazing night. She was...
Little, again, this isn't necessarily a condemnation, but I will say if I have to put this type of humor somewhere on my shelf, it's going in the Gen X comedian, like Gen Xer spot. Where it's like the kind of one-night stand that all men want. It's like, all right, go on. Imagine this will be nuanced.
Very attractive. Never spoke to her after that night. But when that Diddy shit came out, I went on a quest to find her. It took me about 3.5 months. I finally tracked her down on Facebook. She's married now with 3 kids. So I just sent her a very respectful message. I said, hey, I don't know if you remember me.
I gotta know where he's from. Because this accent I'm picking up on. Where is Gary Owen, comedian from? And it says, thinking, Gary Owen is a comedian from Cincinnati, Ohio. All right, you might not think this, but people from Southern Ohio, although it's a very northern state, people from Southern Ohio do have Southern drawls. On my mom's side of the family, they're all from Southern Ohio, and they have the coolest Southern drawl-esque accent. So, benefit of the doubt, Gary Owen's not doing a voice. Maybe just talks a little funny. Not even funny, just Southern.
But I can honestly say you changed the entire trajectory of my life. You did more for me in that one night than you will ever know. Congratulations, you have a beautiful family. Thank you again, Gary.
Guys, it's funny. Fantastic transition. Say what you will about the material. Him getting into this like new bit where he's getting in contact with this woman went from Diddy, his opener, very smoothly in. It's like 4 minutes and 30 seconds on the same thing, and it didn't feel like he's beating a dead horse. And it's, again, although I'm not like dying, it's been well written and smooth. You kind of transitions. They're interesting because if they're well done, you don't notice them at all.
She messaged me back. Who the fuck are you?
That's funny. Go back to give him his credit here.
You will ever know. Congratulations, you have a beautiful family. Thank you again, Gary. She messaged me back. Who the fuck are you?
That's funny.
Damn, I made no impression. I thought I put it down that night. She was faking it. But I'm glad I didn't go to the party that night because I remember me at that age, man. You know.
Transformative. You can't argue that it's not fair use. I'm putting music to it. It's art now. Music videos are art that I made. We're doing art.
I didn't go to nightclubs and sit on the wall. I partied. I can't imagine if I'd have went to the Diddy party that night. Oh my God. Because I know me. I know me. I would have been in the middle of the goddamn party, 3:30 in the morning, sitting there in the middle of the goddamn house. We ain't going nowhere.
We ain't.
We ain't going. I've been having drinks and shit, going nowhere. We can't. I don't feel right.
We ain't going nowhere. That'd be a fun cover. I think stopping and commenting every 2 seconds is probably enough to make it transformative. But I don't know this Gary Owen. He does sound pretty powerful. He's Diddy party powerful, as you say. Yeah, and some of them, most of them are cool, Jake. But Beth Stelling's content curator company or whatever, like a lot of them have that. They copyright claimed me on my Beth Stelling video, but. You know, I think you're right. This just stacks the deck in our favor.
It's getting hot here. We ain't go. Where are my friends? Nowhere. I'm gonna sit down. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stuck. This is where.
Oh, because of the baby.
Boy for love.
Funny act out, so he kind of sat down, and he's kind of slumbering over. Again, as a performer, he's on fire.
I would have woke up the next morning. Man, that was a wild night last night. Remember last night I was talking to that girl, and then with the Diddy's house, I had some drinks. I must have drank too much because I passed out. I was having a good time till
So he's, I was having a good time till I'll let you fill in the gaps here, so to speak.
What the fuck happened? What the fuck is this shit?
Gross. Yeah, some act-em-outs, let's do a little act-em-outs. It's kind of fun. People like act-em-outs. Kind of did like a, what the fuck is
this? There's so much weird shit on YouTube and Netflix now as it is.
Nuh-uh.
Like I was watching YouTube one day and they were showing this family in West Virginia called the Whitakers. I don't know if you heard of them. They're like an inbred family.
I have not heard of the Whitakers.
Like, they've been inbreeding for like 100 years. Like, the same...
All right, transitionally speaking, he did a little bit of a, pause and jump, which is, you don't always see it. Some people do it wrong. I've critiqued comedians who... Honestly, and I am a fan of this man now, and I wasn't really at the time I did the review, but I do stand behind when I said that Louis J. Gomez, I think, just didn't give it too much body brain, Louis, just didn't give it enough padding, because you don't need every one of your bits, every part of your story doesn't need to tie in together, or it doesn't need to be well demonstrated how it's tied in together in what nuanced way, what motif carries from this joke to this joke, what's the one connecting subject you could come up with. Although I'm a fan of that style of writing, you don't need to do that. You can do what Gary just did, which is let him laugh it out a bit. It was a good punchline. Now we'll go in. I think Louis probably played a little... It's probably easier to do when you've got a big-ass room of your fans. And everyone kind of laughs, and it takes a minute for it to die down. It's probably easier to set that pacing in that scenario. And I think Louis, he played a club in, I think it was Tampa where he recorded it. And I don't know how big the comedy club was, but I think that's probably why he felt inclined to, finish a joke. And then he kind of would go into another joke right after that, but it wasn't really related at all. And it felt jilted a little bit. So, Anyway, he's fantastic timing. Clearly, this dude's been around the business. He knows what he's doing. As Jake said, he was invited to a Diddy party after all.
People been fucking. Like there's no more family tree. It's a stump. Branches are gone. And they live so far in the hollers in the hills of West Virginia that cops don't mess.
Okay, that's a little bit of a popsicle stick joke. Because you want to talk about work truck humor. I've definitely heard someone say, that family tree's a stump. Like, or something to that effect. You know what I mean? That's one of those that feels familiar because it is. So, gonna have to take a couple of points off for your precious Eeks score here.
Mess with them because they don't.
The last guy I got, I always heard telephone pole. Yes, exactly. Yep. It makes way more sense than stump. Yeah, you're right, Jay, because the common one is, that family got a family tree like a telephone pole, which makes more sense because there's no, as Gary mentioned, there's no branches coming off of it. But stump, it's implied that there are no branches. So we'll call it a borrowed joke. 5 points from Gary Owen Door.
Don't come down and the cops don't go up.
Gary Owen Claw.
One guy heard about him and he wanted to go record him. So he went up there to go see him, and the sheriff met him at the bottom of the hill and asked him, what are you doing here? He goes, I heard the Whitakers live at the top of that hill. I'm going to go interview him. He goes, well, if you don't come back down, it was good meeting you. Like, what the fuck?
That's funny.
So then he drives up, and I don't know what you think an inbred house would look like, but that's what this looked like. Because he pulled...
Oh, I know. I came up riding the bus in probably pretty similar looking scenarios.
Up and sit on the...
Not West Virginia, man. I mean, like, there's some... It's like Appalachia and shit. Like, I think it's... you get some Billies who are from the proper hills out there.
Front porch, the mom, the aunt...
I'm more of a swamper myself.
And the niece are sitting there. That's the same person, by the way.
Okay. We'll let him hit this joke real quick, and then I gotta take a little bathroom break. I'll be back in a minute or two, but let's hear this joke again, because I talked over it.
Because he pulled up and sit on the front porch. The mom, the aunt, and the niece are sitting there. That's the same person, by the way.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna leave you with a little music. Just a number one, so don't even sweat. But yeah, pop up, get yourself something to drink. We'll be right back. Coming on back. Cool. This is Nautico Pala by Bard Fox, B-A-R-D-F-O-X. Go see him on YouTube. They got all kinds of music like this. Podcasts and stuff over there. While you're on YouTube, be sure to give Critical Eeks a subscribe, PLZ. If you find I have demonstrated some form of value, we are indeed of a kind. So let's get back into some Gary Owen here, shall we? So his last joke was we'll let him tell it.
And I don't know what you think an inbred house would look like, but that's what this looked like. Because he pulled up and sitting on the front porch, the mom, the aunt, and the niece are sitting there. That's the same person, by the way.
Nailed it. Again, it seems, and Jake, you caught telephone pole, so I imagine you probably have heard stuff like that too. But again, where I'm from, there's a lot of incest jokes flying around, if you know what I'm saying. Alright, well, we'll call that a poorly timed ad break. A little bit of Mio. I prefer the green, but this orange is fine. You know when you get something that's orange flavored, like a candy or like a drink enhancer or whatever, but it's not the orange flavor you were hoping for. It's not the fruit named after the color. It's some weird mango tropical fusion. Yeah, not a fan of that.
To her is the husband, the uncle, and the nephew. Again, it's one person. He got an eyeball here, an eyeball here.
Eyeball here, eyeball here.
He ain't talking, he just smiling. And then out the screen door comes busting out this dude named Ray. Ray don't talk, he just makes noises, but he's...
Okay, it is interesting. Even doing his podcast where I didn't think we learned a whole lot. You can hear the performative character, the character that he's kind of performing. He's obviously playing some version of himself, as many creators do. I couldn't imagine why. But as many creators, they tend to play, a magnified version of certain aspects of their personality. But it's so funny to hear his podcast where he's just kind of like talking casually, and it's, a camera too low scenario. And then here talking about busting out the door and blah, blah, blah. It's an interesting dichotomy.
He's like the spokesperson for the family. He came busting through the screen door. Yeah! Yeah! He got a dog. The dog ain't barking. It's meowing. Meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Okay, little note on mic control here. So he adjusted. This like 4 seconds. He demonstrated a fantastic amount of mic control, because for his first bit, he was cupping the bottom of the microphone. Now, for an SM58, the spectrum that it picks up it can be altered by I'm not a sound engineer, but I have a friend who is. It can be altered when you put it here. It changes the way when you put your hand here and you cup this, it changes the way the microphone functions. And so it'll pick up a lot more of this, aggressive sound, like when YouTubers talk directly into their lapel mics, and it creates that, sound. This is a sort of lesser version of that. And when he's doing a voice, he did it like that, so the voice leaves that much more of an impression. Then he switches back for his description, because he wants his voice to sound normal. Then he does this other, more exaggerated voice, and he gets all the way up here, which is some shit vocalists do, because it gives it a lot more presence when you're talking into it and you're kind of blocking the whole thing like this. So he clearly knows that, and I'm impressed, because some guys you see just like holding the mic stand for dear life and just praying the mic will do what they want. Not Gary Owen.
Named Ray. Ray don't talk. He just makes noises, but he's like the spokesperson for the family. He came busting through the screen door. Yeah! Yeah!
Okay, so what he's doing, this is going, yeah! Yeah! Like, it's a very interesting impression. I don't know. Maybe this person, maybe is just trying to paint this as a strange character, but it's working, Gary.
He got a dog. The dog ain't barking. It's meowing. Meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Yeah. I go, what the fuck am I watching right now? It was so wild. I got a special needs cousin. She walked by my laptop and looked back. She was like, oh, that's fucked up. Like,
who's the comedian that already did that joke? comedian, maybe it was Shane Gillis or something, because he does the like Down syndrome. You know, he's a Down syndrome cousin. He actually does some pretty great material on it. Beautiful Dogs is a good special. Bold take. Like, God, it's right there. It's a comedian I used to watch a lot. Like, it's kind of a Dane Cook-esque, you know, for the younger comedy fans. I can't remember who it was, but somebody tells pretty much that exact, well, not that exact story, but that trope is stolen directly from a punchline of another comedian. And how likely is it that his special needs cousin or sister or whatever was walking past his laptop? He was like, that's bad. Anyway. It's right on the tip of my damn tongue. Can't think of who it was. But Gary Owen owes that fella a lot of money. For 1 million views, I mean, probably got some. 1.3 million. 7 days.
Even like the Diddy thing on Netflix. Netflix got some weird programming too. Like I was watching this show called Monster.
That's a great example of what I was describing earlier, where you have two concepts. What is the concept that bridges the gap between those two things? And this was a strange one because he jumped all the way back. We were at Incest Family. He jumped back to Diddy. It was like, Diddy was on Netflix. Now Netflix is crazy too. That was a little bit of performative sleight of hand here.
Even like the Diddy thing on Netflix. Netflix got some weird programming too. Like I was watching this show called Monster, the Ed Gein story. I never knew this. I never knew that the movie.
I remember when Monster came out. I didn't see it, but I remember people talking about it.
Psycho.
It's mostly how I consume my reality through people like Podcast Cringe. My homie David Camp, shout out DC, quoted Elephant Graveyard and said podcast sitters. I like that term.
And the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre is based off the same dude. And you hear Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you think, oh, he got to be a wild boy. No.
Oh my God. Oh, it's my favorite type of organic comedy. Is when someone in the crowd like responds to something very enthusiastically that's so weird, like that. Let's hear it one more time.
The movie Psycho and the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre is based off the same dude. And you hear Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you think, oh, he got to be a wild boy. No.
He got to be a wild boy. Someone in the crowd's like, yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, crazy.
He's not.
Yeah.
He talks just like this. That's how he does. I would never fuck my cousin in West Virginia. I would stay on top. Mother wouldn't like that if I fucked my cousin.
All right, bringing the whole incest thing back into it.
This whole area is funny. Like, I picked DC to do the special because it just brings back a lot of old memories, man. Like,
okay, so he's in DC. Another power move, let's be honest.
Like I was, yeah, because I lived here for a few years. I was in the Navy, but it was my first duty station. So my 18 to 21 years was in D.C. And I remember the first time I went to a nightclub was in D.C. I'll never forget it. I got here on a Monday.
It was interesting. It was kind of a quick stop at Netflix/Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, I would never blank. My cousin actually got me. Yeah. Again, dude, his delivery is on time. You never know if I'm going to get on here and hate what they're doing or hate the person, but like what they're doing. Gary's so far doing a great job, through the first just about 10 minutes here. He's doing a great job of, like, catching me off guard at things that I wouldn't have thought I would enjoy. Or that's a great example of that. I would never, my cousin, actually, yeah. I wish there was something I could do about the chat where it bleeps out your profanities.
And then I
don't want to be accused of censorship.
Went to a nightclub on a Friday. I'd never been
legalized comedy.
Been to a nightclub before. I walk in and I start dancing with this girl, and I didn't know she was deaf, because she went to Gallaudet University, which is a deaf college in D.C. And I didn't know she was deaf when I met her.
This is like a nightclub. Okay, this is at the nightclub.
She was dancing, you know? And that was the best back then, because when I got to DC, you're talking about the mid-90s, not everybody had cell phones. That's when you had to go out on Friday, Saturday night as a dude, and you really had to meet a female, you know? Because there wasn't...
I was actually watching a video earlier today about the, like, you know, why Gen Z is, you know, blah, 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 why Gen Z is the loneliest generation of guys or whatever. And the way they kind of broke it down, how, like, culturally, you know, thing by thing, everything kind of shifted to where we're at now. But again, it really wasn't that long ago when this was how you went and met people.
You had to go out on Friday, Saturday night as a dude, and you really had to meet a
I remember back when
female, you know, because there wasn't no follow-up. You know, there wasn't no social media, there wasn't no DMs or nothing like that. And that's when and I like girls that was dancing. That's why I started talking. Well, I didn't talk, but that's how I met that deaf girl. Because I didn't want girls at the bar. I wanted girls that was dancing in the nightclub. Because, you know, I loved it when a girl would bend over and start shaking her ass.
Okay.
Because that was my move, just to get behind her. You know, that was actually the first DM.
He's doing kind of a hip thrust thing. That was actually the first DM. All right. Again, his little acting outs are fun.
That was a dick message. And fellas, though, that was the best feeling. You get behind a girl, she don't even know if she's bent over, you just get behind her. Hey, what's up?
Did you hear how his voice got that much louder? Hey, what's up? It's because he did that choke up on the SM58 trick. Take that to the bank.
I'm Gary. And that was the best, when she looks back, see who's grinding on her, and kind of gives you the approval. What? Oh, how you doing, Gary? I'm Cheryl. All right.
Okay.
Hey, good meeting you, Cheryl. And I wasn't a jerk about it. Like, if you don't want me grinding on you, I just...
Yeah, exactly. You knew DM was going to be Dick something. Yeah, right.
Kept it moving. There's other girls dancing. I go right on down the line.
I'm a big fan of wordplay. You know, acronym humor, puns, that kind of thing. I'm about that.
Get behind the girl. Hey, what's up? Get away.
We are pro wordplay here at Critical Leaks. Anyways, doing kind of an act out.
Hey, cool. Hey, what's up? Shit.
Jumps over to the next. Hey, what's up?
You thought I was in Drew Hill back then. Tell me what you want. But that's what happened with the deaf girl. I didn't know she was deaf. I go to the nightclub. She's sitting there. She bends over. She's dancing. I just did my move. I got behind her. I was like, hey, what's up? I'm Gary. And she looked back and smiled and backed her ass into me, but she ain't say nothing. I was like, oh, you shy. Okay.
It's so funny because for a huge part of the population, this is a very relatable story, but I have never been in I have been door guy / security at clubs like that, watching a bunch of, you know, kids 10 years younger than me, a bunch of newly 21-year-olds doing this, where it's like, okay. So again, but my young adult life, I was at like a very, very different scene. Still listening to music that was way too loud, but different scene entirely. But this whole like, I'm Gary thing, it's like, all right.
But then she kept backing me up. Pretty soon she had me against the wall. Wasn't that the best, fellas? When a girl backs you against the wall.
See what I mean? I feel a little out of the loop here.
She grinding on your shit. You stuck on the wall like Spider-Man, hit you with a web and shit. But it
kind of did like a...
It was very confusing because she's grinding on me, but she's not talking to me, you know? But my homeboys are talking to me, so I'm talking to them, but I'm trying not to lose focus of that ass either. It was 15 minutes of multitasking. It was not an easy night. Because my boys was like, Gary, what's up with old girl? I was like, motherfucker, I don't know.
They gotta act him out. It's that pelvic gyration. Yelling, I'm Gary. Okay, there's someone who's sitting directly next to the audience mic. It's a woman. She's having a great time, which is good for Gary, but you can hear her laugh so distinctly for this part. See, it sounds like we're right next to that woman.
She finally, after like 5 songs, she grabbed my hands, walked me over to the bar. She grabbed a napkin and a pen from the bartender, and she wrote down, "I'm deaf." So my first thought was, how was you dancing?
So, okay, yeah, cause can't hear.
Because she was on beat. So she had explained me on this napkin, all the deaf kids at Gallaudet, they went to this one particular nightclub on purpose because they had a big dance floor, but they had a side room. And the side room had very low ceilings, very compact walls.
Good for comedy.
So all the deaf kids would go to this particular nightclub because they could go to this room and they could feel the vibrations and the beats coming off the wall.
Come on, that's pretty cool. That's pretty dope. Comedy aside, that's fucking sick. Some Beethoven shit.
But she explained all this to me on a napkin. It's like 3 paragraphs.
Okay. Okay, you almost made me ruin my equipment here, Gary. That was funny. Told me all this on a napkin. It was like 3 paragraphs. Again, the imagery there is it's funny.
I'm looking at this shit like, I know she don't think I'm about to write her back.
The way he tells stories, or at least the way this story is being told, you can almost picture it as like a 2D animated thing, you know what I mean? Where she's scratching it down and the napkins are piling up, and when he's against the wall like Spider-Man or whatever. He, which is, I think, a testament to his use of potent imagery. He really does help paint the picture in our heads, which, in my mind, by my mark, is a good trait for a storyteller to have.
Like I said, this is before everybody had cell phones. Because then the next thing she wrote was, "Can I get your number?" I wrote down, "Why?"
Because this was, before cell phones, he said. Because, you're talking. All right. Shit's pretty good, 3 minutes or so on deaf stuff.
I wrote, "I could call you." I was like, ooh, I kind of want to hear this. So I gave her my number. 2 days.
Oh, you think he's going to do the voice?
Later, I'm in the barracks. Phone rings. And I don't know if anybody here has ever gotten a phone call from the TTY Hearing Impaired Network.
Didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't know what this shit was. If you've never got a phone call from them, it's very prison-esque the first time they call. As the phone rang, I picked it up and it was...
I mean, that's such a crazy detail. This story feels like it has to be true, right?
Hi, may I speak with Gary Owen?
Here's another one of those cropped zoom-ins. I mean, the specials rot with them. I think they do have a camera person out there. But I don't know. Does it say who edited this? Who directed this thing? It'll probably say in the credits if it doesn't say in the description. Excuse me, would you? I'm not seeing it here. Yeah. My fucking algorithm knows me. My first suggested video was Brendan Schaub's hit Rock Bottom by Luista's second channel, Lou Extras.
I go, "This is he. Hi, this is
It's your boy Luista.
so-and-so from the TTY Hearing Impaired Network. Are you familiar?" I said, "I am not." She said, "Okay, this is how it works. You talk, I type. As you're talking, I'll be typing. It'll go to her computer. She'll type back. I'll read you her response. You can respond accordingly." I said, "Simple enough."
See what I mean? That would be if this story isn't true, this man is a genius sociopath.
It takes about 15,
What an intricate detail.
20 minutes to get the hang of it. Now me and her having a pretty good conversation. Then my dumb ass decides to crack a joke. Here's a problem with that. When you crack a joke, you need people to laugh immediately. That
I see.
lets you know the joke is funny. That's not what happened here. I hit the joke. Yeah.
Okay, part of this kind of harkens to the classic, like, sarcasm, you can't text sarcasm. So he hits the joke and now he's waiting. Again, very, very physical.
It's like 2 minutes later,
This isn't just me throwing this out as a cursory thing. You should go check out the actual special itself. This is in no way intended to be a replacement for the real thing, and it's transformative, and it's educational, and I provided a commentary, and it's fair use, damn it. Please, it's fair use.
operator comes back.
But seriously, go check. I mean, because you will be missing some of it because he is such a physical performer. He's kind of sitting, you know, there's only so much I can mime to you.
Ha! 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 Your turn. Fucked up a joke now. But I couldn't get her clearance to come on the base. So every time we'd have to hang out, I'd have to go to her campus. And I don't know if anyone's been to Gallaudet campus. That is a quiet campus. And you just want to be alone with your thoughts or write a novel, go there.
Okay. Some pretty specific DC stuff, but explain to his room.
I'd always be in her dorm room hanging out, and I'd always catch myself whispering. One day I was like, why the fuck am I whispering? If I can hear me on the whole floor, I could be
I see. Okay.
yelling my ass off right now.
Okay, but in format, that's the same joke as why were you dancing?
But like
Why am I whispering is just why were you dancing?
I said, she was on the volleyball team, so I used to always go see her volleyball games. And that was cool, but it was different. I'd never been to a sporting event that quiet. And it was female volleyball, so smaller college, so it wasn't very crowded. But man, I'd never been to a gym that silent for a sporting event. It was so quiet in the gym, I could hear the scoreboard changing scores. I never knew the scoreboard made noises. I thought it had a tick in my brain for a minute. I'm just sitting there, ta-tang!
Just kind of looking around, a little confused. Okay, Mike Control, you know, Mike's style is he's way down here now. He's kind of schultzing out a little, kind of grabbing where the XLR cord would be in. Storytelling, you know, very casual. It's interesting because so many people get locked into one style of like holding the mic. There's the classic, you know, Shane Gillis. Gary's all over the place, man. He uses them all like storytelling tropes, you know. They don't exist on their own. They're tools.
What the fuck is that? So let me explain why we broke up after 4 months. She asked me to go to a men's basketball game with her. I said,
Okay.
yeah, of course I'll go. So we go. We walk into the gym.
You know, this may deliver, and probably part of the length of this story is me and my, you know, my pesky commentaries. But this is a long fucking story, dude.
The exact same gym I see her play volleyball in numerous times. Now it's packed. Got to be at least 1,000 deaf kids in the gym. You know, still pretty quiet because they don't clap. They do shit like this, you know.
Redundant.
I
like it.
Halfway through the first half, this one brother on Gallaudet steals the ball, dribbles down the court, and does a windmill dunk. Ka-tank! Okay, deaf people, their vocal cords work. They just don't know how to use them. So when this brother dunked the ball,
Do you think he'll make the sound?
1,000 deaf kids reach below their chairs, and they grab these Coke cups you get at basketball and football games, and they hold up to their mouth.
Guess I haven't. Okay.
And they scream the most god-awful noise you'll ever hear in your life out of these cups. You gotta warn a motherfucker this is about to happen, by the way.
I shouldn't be laughing.
You can't have me in total silence for 4 months. And at a left field, 1,000 deaf people at the exact same time scream into these cups.
I don't want to put it down.
Gary, that's a terribly time to add, Mr. Owen. What the fuck? You're right in the middle of fucking. You just brought it home. And it was a classic type of like stand-up comedy laugh where you're like, oh god, I shouldn't be laughing at this. Like it's well told in that way. My god, that was a horrifically timed advertisement. And they do think they put them in. I don't know. I make my monies, my sweet, sweet cashes, my bag, not from AdSense. It's from, what did I say it was last time?
These cups.
Being paid to not talk about the Epstein list. It's my payment. It's hush money. So I did the voice. I guess the character he's doing now, he's kind of just sitting there, like, looking grumped out or something. I guess this is supposed to be his reaction to it all. It's kind of looking and looking back. And... See what I mean? Very visual performer.
And my girl was the loudest one. She lead the charge. broke up with her that night. I did, but it's not for the reasons you think. I know you're probably thinking, Gary, that's an asshole move. How can you do that? No, that is not why I broke up with her. I broke up with her because when I went to that men's basketball game with her, we had already had sex 5 or 6 times. Never heard her make that noise.
I see.
I didn't know she had the ability.
Again, I'm just sitting here on the truck. Oh, yeah, totally. Just to go down any farther, or you want to turn? Okay, totally. Yeah.
To make that noise. Listen, the most I ever got out of her was, oh, oh.
Him doing the voices. This dude reminds me of my friend. Honestly, I may have to send this to my friend Murph. This is very. He's going to think this is very funny. Okay. Still doing it. I bet he does it again. I guess it's still working.
At one point I thought it went really deep. I heard a,
I don't know why I wanted him to make the noises. Be careful what you. I got monkey paw, dude.
I never got close to him. Listen, she's a sweet young lady. I had to let that butterfly fly.
Okay.
You ever break up with somebody and then the next day you're replaying the relationship in your brain? You're like, oh my God, we should have broke up a long time ago. How did I miss all these red
It seems like a good transition.
flags? Because that's what I was doing with her. I'm replaying the relationship. I'm like, oh my God, how did I miss all this? Because it hit me like every time we would have sex, when I would get done, she would just cool me being done. There was one time we was having sex and she turned around. More.
He's kind of doing the sign for more.
No, every time I would get done, she'd be like, that's all you got, bitch, fuck you. I didn't know what she was saying. She was saying, that's all you got, bitch, fuck you. She'd been cussing me out for 4 months. I thought I was putting it down. I heard her say, bitch, fuck you. I said, yeah, I did do that, didn't I? She'd been mad the whole time. I was thinking about memories, man.
Oh, yeah, okay, memories. He's looking back on the relationship, looking for red flags. That's the thing about memories, man. All right.
You come back, you have all these memories, and I always heard, like, you don't start having memories that stick to your 4. And I believe that. I think 0 to 3, you're just kind of winging it. That's why I don't know why parents take their kids on vacation before 4. They ain't
Gonna remember it. We've heard, again, this is another thing. This feels like a sitcom or like an office joke or something. I mean, if nothing else, it's kind of been beaten to death. We've heard this a lot. Maybe he'll find a fresh take. And if you're getting, if you're finding a little bit of a lull, don't worry. Soon we'll be breaking things up with a reading of Corey Feldman's autobiography, Choreography. It is quite illuminating, I assure you. So stay tuned.
gonna remember it. Just lie to them, you know? Just get a little boat, go on the Anacostia River.
We're about 20 minutes into a 57-minute special, so
What was
put it on the halfway mark, we'll hit it.
That's when I took you to Italy for your 6th birthday. Yep, we went to Venice and everything.
Yeah, this is from something. Again, I can't really place it, but let me know if you can place it.
I believe that's true, though, because I don't have memory. The memories that stick is 4. And 4 to 7 was a very distinct time in my life, because I just remember at that time, it was just me and my mom, and we lived in a little one-bedroom apartment, and then, my mom slept in the bedroom every night because we only had one bedroom. I slept on the couch because we only had one TV. Wanted to watch TV, I had to sleep on the couch. But dudes would be coming over to see my mom. And I never knew what they wanted at that age. I just thought she had a lot of friends. And then I became an adult, and I look back, and I'm like, motherfuckers.
I guess that's funny because we all kind of have that, we've all got those things where it's like, that's what that was at. Oh, okay. That's what they were doing when they said blah blah blah. It's Uncle Jeff smoke, you know, that kind of thing.
Cause I'm just letting them in. You're knocking on the door. How's it going, little man? Your mom home? Uh-huh, she's at her room. Just leading these motherfuckers to the slaughter. Some of the guys was cool though. Some of the guys used to bring me snacks. I thought that was cool. Like, you're gonna come.
It's like you hear Big J talk about this kind of thing a lot.
Come fuck my mom.
At least on Story Wars, you hear it referenced.
At least bring me a little something to munch on while you're doing it, you know? Don't have me out here starving. And my mom was smart, because her apartment's so small you could hear everything. So when dudes would come over, she would turn her stereo all the way up in the bedroom. But the only music that used to come out of my mom's room was that music group, the Eagles. So I can't listen to them anymore. I can't listen to Hotel California or Tequila Sunrise or Desperado. It hits different. I'm glad that group broke up. Fuck that group, actually, you know? Some days are better than others, though. Like Wednesdays was a good day because a dude named Billy would come over. And Billy always brought me a Frosty from Wendy's. And I thought that was the coolest shit. Because every Wednesday morning I'd wake up, get ready for school. I knew I was going to have a good day because I was getting a Frosty that night. I'd be at recess playing by myself. I don't give a fuck. I'm getting a Frosty.
It's kind of doing like a hopscotch, I think it is, thing where you like the squares.
And Billy always acting like he ain't have it either. He'd be coming to the apartment, knocking on the door. Hey, what's up, Gary? Hey, what's up, Billy?
I wonder what this is leading to. Because the death story was long and it kind of just ended in like a funny impression that went on, in my opinion, a little too long. It was also kind of a long story, and I'm wondering how he's going to land this one.
Your mom home? I don't know. Maybe.
So, I don't know, maybe, and then looks at him expectantly.
You know I got you, little man. Come on in, Billy.
Okay, I got that Frosty.
He's in the other room blowing my mom's back out. I'm in the living room enjoying the shit out of this Frosty. There's plenty of room at the hotel.
Okay, funny. Don't call back with that.
Such a lovely place. When I grew up, I'm going to go to Hotel California. I'm going to get me a Frosty. I'm going to eat on my hotel bed at the Hotel California bed. Swear to God I will.
Okay, you see what I mean about his use of imagery, though? You can really, like, you can see little him sitting there on the couch watching the TV. Like, it's well told. I'm not super fascinated by the story itself, but it's a well-told story.
Fridays was the worst, though. Wednesdays was good, Fridays wasn't. Because a dude named Rodney would come over. Rodney never brought nothing to eat. No snacks. And he rode a Harley, so I could hear him coming like a mile away. I'm like, fuck, Rodney's come over tonight. I ain't getting nothing to eat. And he used to park his Harley right in the living room. Just pull the motherfucker in. Now I can't watch TV, blocking the TV. You know, motorcycles take a couple minutes to cool off. Now I'm hot. Pretty sure I was breathing in carbon monoxide. Rodney was a weirdo, though, because, like...
Again, the last story, this is all kind of a cumulative story, I guess. We're called a compound story here.
My mom ended up marrying him. I don't know why she married him. Wish she would have married Billy. Because I never got a Frosty after that day. We'd be riding by Wendy's, like, fuck, I miss Billy, man. Ronnie moved in when I was 70.
See, that's another thing, is a lot of the smoke's wafting up from the audience, it looks like. This doesn't look like fog born from behind the curtains, if you know what I'm saying.
They're asking me weird questions, you know? Like, the day he moved in, he goes, hey, Gary, come here. I'm going to be here from now on, all right? So I got a couple questions I'm going to ask. I've been noticing some things. You ain't got to lie to me. Just tell me the truth, okay? Is you gay? Is you gay? Okay. I'm fucking 7. I don't even know what gay is. I go, what's that? He goes, you like little boys? You like playing with little boys? I was like,
okay.
Hell yeah, I like playing with little boys. I want to play with little boys all day. Billy, Joey, Jerry, Mike, Paul. He's like, yeah, I knew it.
Okay.
And then 9 years later,
an uncomfortable story. It sounds more like a formative memory than a joke, I guess.
I'm 16. I swear to God, Rodney pulls me aside and asks me the exact same question verbatim. But now we ain't living in an apartment, living in a trailer. Pulls me aside and goes, hey, Gary, come here. And remember I asked you this when I moved in. I asked you one more time. You ain't got to lie to me. Ain't nobody going to be in trouble. I've just been noticing some things still. Is you gay? Now, obviously, I'm 16. I know what gay is. I go, no. Why do you keep asking me that? He goes, because I'm just saying, man, you never bring no girls around. Why's that? I never see you bring no girls around. I go, we live in a trailer. I'm not bringing no girls back to this raggedy-ass trailer park. I'm trying to seal the deal, not fuck it up. I can't bring no girls back. All this can be yours.
I see.
Welcome to your future, ladies.
I don't know, because I feel like most of my trailer park friends were like, they were screwing before it was like, okay. I remember, riding the bus, they'd get on and, it'd go through summer break, and then the first week's worth of rides, of just hearing stories. It's like, really? A popsicle? As you fill in the gaps.
Fucking weirdo.
So to speak.
Rodney's the reason I joined the Navy. I was like, I'm gonna get away from him, I'm just gonna go.
You know what I mean? God, it seems, comedy is, what do they say? Trauma plus time equals comedy.
I was an easy sell.
That's not what they say.
Military is interesting too because that was the first time I was on a plane. I get on an airplane, we fly, we land, and I get to the base about 11 p.m. And then they put you in a room with like 100 dudes you don't know. You're all on bunk beds, and you're freaking out because I'm 17.
That was a smooth transition, though. I'll give him that. He's going into some naval stories, I guess. And yeah, use Rodney or whatever to springboard himself into Navy stuff. I'm wondering, because that took so long. At least the deaf girl story ended in a big pop. I mean, maybe that's why we are kind of getting toward the middle right here, so maybe this is a little bit of an example of some filler. But I hope that one or both of those characters, or the concept of the Frosty or something, makes it into the act later on. Because as of now, I'm like, well, why did you introduce those characters? Do they play a part later? So let's find out. Again, benefit of the doubt here. Maybe he's going to pull it off.
And then about 3 in the morning, they come down with a garbage can. The lights come on. Somebody's got a bat hitting the garbage can. You get up on the line. And I was the first dude to get in trouble. I go, how the fuck am I the first dude to get in trouble? Because I yawned. So my company commander walked by, and I didn't realize I yawned. I was like, he's like, am I boring you? And I was like, oh my God, I'm the first one to get in trouble. And you know what he made me do the whole first day of boot camp? And this don't sound like a bad punishment.
This is kind of family reunion humor, which has kind of been the vibe the whole time. Again, the work truck thing. But, telling funny stories, I don't know. It's interesting.
Until you try it. Because I yawned, I had to walk around the entire first day with my mouth open. That don't seem like it's hard. Try doing this shit for 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit more of an act 'em out. Targeted ads crack me up. Yeah, I'm in the market for a car. You know what I was thinking about getting today? A new car. Some of you ain't laughing, but some of you dudes are going to try that on the way home. You're going to look at your girl. Hey, get the phone out. Get the clock out.
Yeah, I'm sure he's right. My jaw starts hurting if I chew gum for too long, but that's also because it's a little off.
That's kind of hard. Now, I've said this before. I was a cop when I was in the Navy, and
you know what? We'll go back to that. Pulling a little bit early here, but only a little bit early because we are at 25 minutes of 57, so it's just about halfway. And do you know what that means, my friends? It means it's time for the reading of the autobiography Choreography, written by Corey Feldman. Now, Corey Feldman, he was an actor. Now he's sort of a presence, he was using Lost Boys and the original movie, whatever The Burbs is based on. He was in that too. Hilarious camo in The Burbs, by the way. I was saying to my fiance, it's so clear to me that he got to write his part for that cameo because you're in a bar or whatever. The main character, the protagonist or whomever, kind of walks out of frame, and as the camera lingers, you see a guy in a leather jacket, which was studded like Freddie Mercury's, man. Just this bright and shining spikes and studs all over this very expensive looking leather jacket in what's supposed to be portrayed as a small town divey bar. He had a small part in the movie Time After Time. He was big for a while. He 80s wise, he was one of the two Coreys, which it was Corey Feldman and Corey Ames. He had Time After Time. Oh, no shit. According to Jake, he had a small part in the movie Time After Time, which inspired the title of the song by the same name. If be born and I get you, I'll be waiting. Yeah, exactly. Time After Time. I had no idea that was a movie. Appreciate your input, Jake. You're a handy guy to have around. So, Corey Feldman. Oh, so we kind of, the camera sort of lingers on a guy in this studded leather jacket. He turns around and it's Corey. And he's got gray hair and stuff now. And he picks up this big pile of money. And he goes walking by the camera as he's counting it out. And he goes, "Man, I love this place," which is a solid cameo line, but pretty indicative. I'm pretty sure Corey had a hand in how he was going to be portrayed. Haven't seen the original movie. The series was funny. As far as mysteries are concerned, don't get your hopes up, but funny writing. Excuse me, yeah. So, when last we met him, his mother had just told him, was describing Hugh Hefner to him. And we'll do a little previously on section here. Hugh Hefner was a gentleman, she would say with a certain reverence, taking the frame from me and putting it carefully back onto the mantelpiece. And he always left big tips. I liked the way she winked when she said this, and I pictured Mr. Hefner as some sort of benevolent father figure, merrily doling out big tips to the other working women like my mom. When she finished describing her days as a bunny, she might tell me about the wild parties she used to attend at the Spahn Ranch, the sprawling 500-acre stretch of land in the mountains above Chatsworth, once the backdrop for spaghetti westerns and episodes of Bonanza and The Lone Ranger, before Charles Manson and his, quote, family moved in, rent-free, around the time of the Tate La Bianca murders in the summer of '69. It was strange to think of my mother in that way, as a single, carefree woman in the days before she had children. She was beautiful, but, as I sensed even then, somehow dangerous. Jake asked if Hugh Hefner gave Frosties. Solid callback. On the good days, we'd pile in the car and drive the hills and troughs of the valley, searching for strays or wounded animals in need of a, quote, good home. Even though we already had a vicious black lab called Shadow, plus an Irish setter and a little cream-colored chihuahua, Twinkie, multiple cats, several ducks, a smattering of chickens, and 2 horses, a black and white gelding called Flesh, and Wildfire, a brown mare. More often, though, she was down, relegated to the confines of her bedroom, suffering from a mysterious range of maladies. In those days, I was too young to anticipate the high highs and low lows of someone with a depressive disorder, or to successfully navigate the unpredictable, violent swings that are born of substance abuse. I just thought she needed my help. "Corey," she would call out, no matter where I was in the house, "come in here and rub my feet." I would trudge into the darkness and take her foot in my hands while she lay in bed, her forearm thrown over her face to shield her eyes from the light, her naked leg sticking out from deep within the blankets. She would cry and fidget and whine and sometimes scream and curse and kick, even when I was brushing her hair or bringing her food or running a bath. Those were the worst days, when her moods became like black holes, sucking the life from every corner of the house into that cold, dark room. Sometimes her door would stay closed all day, If I had an audition, she might call my grandmother and demand that Booby ferry me around town. If I wasn't working, or if my grandmother was busy with Mindy, I would make my breakfast, feed the horses out back on the farm, then retreat to my room, locked away for hours with my action figures, acting out elaborate fantasies, playing heroes and villains, or cops and robbers, or pulling them apart at the joints to inspect the elaborate system of hooks and rubber bands that held them together. I wasn't allowed to have friends over, and I wasn't allowed to leave the house. So, sometimes, I just zipped myself in the giant gray suitcase, warm and dank, smelling of sweat and leather and the sea. In those early days in the Chatsworth house, I learned to entertain myself. And he would go on to leverage that into a career wherein he would entertain us all. But we will get to that on our next reading of Corey Feldman's autobiography, Choreography. All jokes aside, that's explained so much about the young man. Well, the middle-aged man now. Let's give it up for Corey Feldman, one of my very favorite narcissists. You should check out his appearance on Trading Spouses. He has a polygamist situation going on, and he calls his ladies, wait for it, Corey's angels.
That's kind of hard. Now, I've said this before. Like I was a cop when I was in the Navy, and
By the way, I was reading at the time, but did he give Corey Frosties the fucking banger of a comment?
you know, I'm very proud of my arrest record.
Jake's on goddamn fire today.
I was a police officer for 4 years, and I had 2 arrests. I'm really proud of that. I was a great guy because, you know, I was the one to ask questions. So when I first got my first duty,
To wit, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to come join us over on Twitch, it's at Twitch at my name, Critical Leaks. We're having a good time over here.
station after police academy, you know, I raised my hand. I said, "Hey, do we get bonuses?" They go, "What do you mean?" I go, "Like if I arrest 100 people, I get a bonus." They go, "No."
Okay, because he was military police in the Navy. And a buddy was military police in the Navy.
I go, "So
He was a wild card.
if I arrest 100 people or I arrest no people, my paycheck's the same?" They go, "Yeah." I go, "Okay. I know what kind of cop I'm about to be. Lenient." And I like work.
Yeah, this is nitpicking, but I feel like he could have paused a little for lenient. Because I know the cop I'm about to be. Let him kind of laugh it out for a second, then drop lenient.
Working nights. Most guys didn't want to work nights. I volunteered to work nights because
Again, it's a nitpick.
nobody's looking over your shoulder. But you got to deal with DUIs. You got to deal with drunks. You got to deal with bar fights, you know. Because I remember one night I was on patrol, and like I said,
Yeah, from what my friend told me, it was mostly like busting dudes for like smoking joints and that kind of thing. The irony was palpable.
got to deal with drunks. You got to deal with bar fights, you know. Because I remember one night I was on patrol, and like I said, if there wasn't a witness, motherfucker, it didn't happen. You know how many cars I saw? I'd be like, I'm about to risk my life for the same check. But we had a nightclub on our base, and you know, it was about 1:30 in the morning on a Friday. I'll never forget, this car just went up on the sidewalk, ba-doom, ba-doom, and I was like, fuck. And I looked around, there were some witnesses sitting outside the nightclub. I go, damn, I gotta pull him over now. Why ain't you inside? So I pulled
So he's finally about to pull someone over.
him over, and I'm still trying to let this dude go. My whole plan is to let him go. I go to the driver's side window, I knock on the window, he rolls down the window, and the dude immediately starts yelling at me. He's like, "I'm a black man without a record. I'm a black man without a record." I was like,
I like that he does the voices. There are a lot of people who are afraid they can't get away with that kind of thing. And he did the deaf, you know, he's doing a black guy now. Like, it's brave. I like that.
I would like you to keep that title.
Because, I mean, times have sort of moved on, but for a time there, like, a clip like that could get you Shane Gillis off of SNL.
Quiet down, please. Then he just kept yelling.
In fact, Shane's transgressions were really, I think he might have used the word that rhymes with kink and did like a voice. But it wasn't like, again, anyway, you're probably aware of the Shane Gillis situation.
You pulled me over because I'm black. I go, "Motherfucker, your windows were tinted. I don't know what color you were." Now, granted, it was a Cadillac. It was souped up. Had a amazing sound system. You gonna say
Got an amazing sound system.
Gary guess? I would have guessed black, but you ain't gonna tell me I knew. That could have been Paul Wall or Bubba Sparks. Shit.
It's funny, and you can tell the difference in a good sound system versus a loud sound system. And a big part, and people, the city I moved to as a young adult, we call it rattle traps because you could hear the rattling of the door panels almost over the subwoofers, the boom, 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 boom. Instead of just bass frequencies, which is what an expensive sound system sounds like. You'll know when a good one goes by. But one that's just a big, expensive 16-inch subwoofer, just cross-wired into the car radio. You can tell the difference.
So now I got him out of the car, and I'm still trying to let him go. I got him on the trunk, no handcuffs, just got him on the trunk, just hands right here. Now the nightclub's letting out. Why the fuck did it have to be hip-hop night? God damn it. All these people are coming out. They just see this brother on the back of the car. I'm this white-ass cop looking at him. And it's just black people.
I would try to fight my addiction to it, but body cam footage, it's always, you can kind of sense it. Like, if they've got like a black person detained or something and a group of black people is going by, you can kind of sense the tension in them. No, well, that's not what we had, please stand back. We had foul, get back, I said. I'll charge you with obstructing. And it tends to escalate, depending on the situation. I've seen a lot of them escalate from just them being like, it's not. Now I know this, but it's not that. So it's funny.
Well, black people, 2 white girls coming out of the club. Black people, 2 white girls. Now this brother's trying to bowl up like he
is. Do we still have that pulled up? No, it's gone.
He's Denzel in Training Day.
Say he is. What was it? By Ebony Magazine was rated Black America's favorite white comic.
Oh, you motherfuckers see this shit! I'm sitting here like Ethan Hawke. Are we good?
I don't know where the hell we went with that weird boyfriends thing, but this is a funny fucking story.
I had to arrest them. I didn't want to arrest them. I'm still mad about that. But that's what you got to deal with when you're working nights. But that's the bad part about working. The good part about working nights is we had keys to every building on the base. So when I was working nights, I'd always go to the daycare.
Yeah. Again, he transitioned smoothly into this Navy vehicle where he can kind of ride on this for a while. He's got different Navy stories. The time he pulled the guy over outside the nightclub. Now he's got keys to all these different buildings. It's a clever use of that, that narrative vehicle.
Here and steal those little breakfast burritos. Those things were
because now he can tell a litany of stories, and even if they didn't actually happen when he was in the Navy, he can kind of plug that into Navy stuff.
vicious.
I don't know that he needs to do that, but he could.
I know there was some mad-ass 4- and 5-year-olds. Where's my burrito? Drinking them good-ass elementary school chocolate milks. I used to love that shit. You pull up that little refrigerator, you got that line of red, that's whole. That line of blue is 2%, but that goddamn brown, don't fuck with that shit. I used to be killing that shit in the daycare. Be sitting on little beanbags, taking naps. They'd be looking for me. Petty Officer Owen. Yeah, I got an alarm that went off at the daycare. I'm just gonna walk through and make sure
It's funny. He's doing an act out. He's kicking back and eating.
Yeah, an hour later, Petty Officer Owen. Yeah, I just came back real quick doing a sweep of the building.
He's got the radio tone down too. Yeah, we're gonna blah 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 blah.
The cool part about the base I was on, it was a base called NAB Coronado, and on that base there was 3 SEAL teams, and we had the Buds people that were trying to be Marines, and being that close to them, I never.
Wait, what is it? What the hell did you say?
I was on. It was a base called NAB Coronado.
I got distracted by Rancid lyrics hearing Coronado.
And on that base there was 3 SEAL teams, and we had the Buds people that were trying to be Marines, and being that close to them, I I never want to do that. They literally try to kill these motherfuckers. They were trying to kill these dudes. There was one exercise, I don't get it to this day. They would tie their ankles and their wrists together, throw them in a pool. They got to sink to the bottom of the pool, push up, catch a breath.
Oh, I've seen videos of this.
Go back down. Push up, catch a breath, go back down. And I'll be in my car eating my burritos and chocolate milk like. That's like 18 times. How many times you gonna make him go to the bottom of the pool? This is a stupid ass exercise. You ain't gonna go to the bottom of the ocean and push up. That's too deep.
That's too deep.
Way deeper than the pool. Maybe the turtle swims by.
You gotta love someone that can do a good impression of themselves, like a funny impression of themselves.
They could jump off a turtle shell or something, but they ain't gonna make it to the bottom of the ocean if your legs and your arms are tied together.
You know, like that takes some self-awareness.
I don't know what the point of this shit is. Come on, let's go back to daycare.
Did you know that PetSmart?
Again, I got a little seed of hope buried that this whole stepdad's weird bit that he went into is like, it's still growing beneath the permafrost, and as things warm and we get farther into this special, I'm hoping he's gonna actually bring it up. Because it felt like he was building to something and then just kind of moved on, which could be totally worth it if it does pay off later. In fact, it would be even better if it, you know, the whole act itself will be even better if that particular part pays off, because I feel like he could have transitioned. That's right, because he had to kind of transition around it. So if it wasn't just him, what do they call it, trauma dumping or whatever, then I'm curious to see what it what function it performs here in this act.
But you know, everything happens in 2s and 3s. So when I when I arrested that guy on Friday, it was like the next Wednesday comes, and it's the same nightclub at the same time of night, but now the nightclub's kind of empty. I see this guy and girl about 1:30 in the morning leaving.
It's funny, he's trying to be like, oh, I was a cool cop, don't worry about it. It's like, but I was at the same nightclub on the same night a week later. Well, it doesn't seem very lenient.
The nightclub, and they start walking towards the beach. Now, we had a beach on our...
Of course, I will say this, having like worked security at nightclubs before, having cops nearby rules, because you are vastly outnumbered and surrounded by a bunch of veritable drunk kids. I mean, they're 21, 22-year-olds, like, you know, being confronted on their drinking abuse for the first time. It's like, shit escalates quickly. And it always cracked me up, because I worked with some dudes like me who were just kind of there for the $10 an hour. It's like, hey, you can't touch her. Like, hey, no fighting, kids. Like, get the fuck out of here. There were guys like me there, but then there were dudes who were like training MMA in their off time, and they would just come to work just looking for it. And I always thought it was really funny, because we had the same like few police, relatively small city, big town, small city type deal. And we always had the same few officers there, and they would not even hear the person out. And like, if it used to do yo-yo tricks for bouncers, see, that right there is the fucking way. It's funny, because like, it really is like the job of being a bouncer, the job of working security, especially in a nightclub, is the most monotonous, boring fucking thing, because you're just sitting there watching, again, all these kids have like the time of their lives, and you're just like, okay, like, I got, how is it only midnight? And we've heard "to the window, to the wall" 3 times already. But yeah, it's the officers, they won't even hear out the guy that's been thrown out and got his ass kicked. It's like, he'll be bleeding and shirt all ripped and stuff, and the cop's like, disorderly. So, you know, credit where it's due. There were a couple of times where like having the officers there was nice, because it helped things from escalating in a way that would not have gone well for us, the handful of authority figures there.
Base, but it's a military installation. You can't.
I've also been a problem to security. I'm not trying to high road anyone. Like, I've also been violently thrown out of bars and deserved it. So, you know, all over here. But anyway, so he was at the same nightclub about a week later.
Just be walking on the beach. So I was following from afar, and then I saw them sit down in the sand, and the dude put his arm around the girl and went in for the kiss. And I go, oh, we might have something here. So I put...
Okay, actually, apparently I'm a little farther behind than I thought. We'll go back a little.
I see this guy and girl about 1:30 in the morning leaving the nightclub, and they start walking towards the beach. Now, we had a beach on our base, but it's a military installation. You can't just be walking on the beach. So I was following from far, and then I saw them sit down in the sand, and the dude put his arm around the girl and went in for the kiss. And I go, oh, we might have something here.
I see.
So I put my car in reverse, called everybody else on patrol. I said, we might have something on the beach. Let's get about 15, 20 minutes to see how this shit plays
Oh, boy.
out. So we all went silent. We all went dark. We waited about 15, 20 minutes.
Industry term.
And then we were all coming up real quiet. So we had an ATV coming this way, an ATV coming this way, and 2 Jeeps coming over this little sand dune. We don't know what we about to see, but we got them fog lights on our car, so we about to light these 2 up. He's like, all right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Wham! We lit them motherfuckers up. All we saw was this white ass pumping away. And then the motherfucker froze.
He's doing an act out. He's kind of turned away from the audience, and he's doing a little Roganian stool humping here. And then he kind of turns around for the froze part.
Realized he was caught. Some bitch, he tried to finish. Yeah! Oh, he's trying to finish. He's trying to finish.
This very much reminds me of my uncle.
So now this dude, he's trying to cover up the girl.
Again, and you guys probably also know a dude like this, but, you know, it's, again, really reminds me of Murph. Where he'll be telling a story that's like kind of raunchy or like this, but you can't help but laugh at it. Where it's like, son of a bitch trying to go back and finish. It's like, it's...
Because he's on top of her, but he's still in her. He hasn't left yet.
Okay.
And now he's yelling at us, come on, guys, respect the lady. Respect the lady. I'm like, remove the penis.
Loudspeaker.
Sir, remove the penis. We can't talk to you. Remove your penis, sir. You do have to remove your penis before we discuss anything. Please, sir, remove your penis. I remember he was standing there. He didn't have his clothes on. He had them right here. Let's hold them. He goes, what now?
Holding them. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's kind of standing there. Got it cupped.
Go home, bro. He's waddled the waves.
Did like a waddle, you know, short steps.
Now the girl's looking at me. I'm looking at her like a disappointed uncle. What would your parents think of you right now? Don't you ever let a man bring you out on the beach like that, girl. You got sand in your pussy right now, girl.
Jesus Christ.
Don't you ever let a man put sand in your pussy. You know what's in that sand? Sand crabs.
Sand crab.
Those sand crabs will eat your
Sand crabs, I see.
pussy alive. And you go home, but you take your ass to medical in the morning. You can check it out. Remember, I saw her like a week later in the chow hall. She goes, Petty Officer Owen, no crabs.
Oh, that chick rules.
It's been an interesting couple years, though, these last...
Okay, maybe it is just fog. I don't know, though. It doesn't hang like fog hangs. I don't know.
Last year's been a doozy for me.
And the concentration of this fog is at the front of the stage mostly. And it's darker down toward the crowd, and then it starts to kind of waft up as it goes. It's not very fog-alike.
Vasectomy last year because I had twins. That wasn't in the game plan. Yeah, that was a hell of a phone call.
How did he transition to this here? What did we miss?
I got a vasectomy last year because I had twins. That wasn't in the game plan. Yeah, that was a hell of a phone call. You know? Because I was...
It's funny being at the age where, like, my friends are bringing that up now. Like, my buddy was talking about getting a Steam Deck the other day, and he's like, well, but, you know, it's about the same price to get a vasectomy, so... It's like, God, yeah, all right. Jesus.
Coasting, man. I was doing good, you know, like...
Not that I'm judging the decision to do you, but it's just funny to be arriving at that point in my life. It's like, yeah, I guess that is a practical investment.
My divorce went final. All my kids are over 18. I'm coasting. And then here comes some good pussy. And talk about misreading a room. That phone call, I did not know the phone call was coming like that. Because I picked up the phone, and girl was like...
I love his onstage voice. It is so funny. What do they call that? Code switching.
He goes, hey, Gary. I said, hey. She goes, what are you doing? I was like, nut. I was like, I've been thinking about you.
It's less, obviously, because he's a performer, so it's less egregious, because, like, it's just, that's his stage voice. Believe it or not, I don't always talk like this. Kidding, I obviously do. But, yeah, it's not like code switching like you would see out and about. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Yo, what up, my man?
Dude, she goes, I've been thinking about you, too. I was like, I ain't seen you in a minute. She's like, you about to see a lot more of me. I was like, well, shit, tell me something. She goes, I'm pregnant. I said, call you back in 2 days. What the fuck?
Okay.
I needed 48 hours to process that information, and then I wrapped my brain around.
Yeah, what year was he born? Well, he graduated high school in 91. He does have a military background. Okay, 6 years as a master at arms, eventually becoming part of the Presidential Honor Guard. Ooh, spoilers! Maybe that's where all that stepdad stuff was going.
And I was like, okay, I got twins coming. I can handle that. And
At my graduation, he pulled out a frost.
not a big deal, you know. Then I didn't know it was twins at first. I just thought I had a baby coming, you know, because that's something too. So I'm like, okay, I got a baby coming. I'm good. And then she calls me like a month later. She goes, Gary, you're not gonna believe this. It's twins. I was like, okay, you're doing a lot right now.
Okay.
I'm trying to be cool with all this, but every month you call me with more bullshit. Seriously, what's gonna happen next month? Siamese?
Doing too much is a funny. That's finally trickled down into my millennialistic realm of. Oh, yeah, I've heard that term. Doing too much.
I called my doc. I said, Doc, I gotta get a vasectomy. He goes, I've been trying to tell you. I said, I'm ready. I didn't research vasectomies enough. For one, I just thought you go in, you get snipped.
So we have heard comedians do this. Let's see what his take on it. So far, he's done a pretty good job of using like universally accepted comedy concepts and finding his own way to sort of turn them on their head. Yes, there have been a few popsicle stick jokes, but largely he's kind of had his own take. So let's see where he goes with vasectomy, a classic middle-aged comedian bit.
You keep it moving. No. My doctor's like, you gotta come in, you gotta take a physical. And then I didn't know you had the option of being awake or asleep. So I did the anesthesia, took a little nap, woke up. And obviously the first thing you do when you wake up is check your shit out.
Right.
Couple things I know about a vasectomy. One, I didn't know they shaved your balls. Because I woke up and looked down. I was like, damn, they faded the fuck out of my nuts.
Fade.
I must have had a black barber. He lined my shit up. It was crispy as hell. I said, oh my God, look how he blended that. I've never seen a mid-fade on some nuts. I was in the mirror for 2 days. He's like, get the fuck out of here. You sure?
It's kind of doing like a foot up on the stool, kind of admiring type of deal. Boy, Gary, you have put me into some compromising positions here, trying to mimic your actamouts.
That's why I hope nobody ever breaks into my iCloud. If they see some of the videos and pictures, thinking like, what the fuck is Gary doing? I was over here doing boomerangs with my shit.
It's doing, that kind of thing.
But I thought you just get snipped and you're ready to go. That is not how vasectomies work. My doctor.
Okay. Yeah, the whole recovery from vasectomy thing. Again, that would be where the rich area for comedy exists in this subject, so. Alright. No points deducted yet.
He explained to me, he goes, Gary, no, you still got swimmers in there. You got to clean the pipes out. You got to get those swimmers out. I said, what does that mean? He goes, well, let's just play it safe. Give me 20 releases, which is basically 20 ejaculations. I said,
We got it.
okay. So I called my doctor a week later. I was like, done, light work. He was like, damn, already? I said, I'm trying to get active, doc. He goes, no, you still got to come in. I go, for what? He told me we got to send a sample off to a lab to make sure there's no swimmers in there. Now, this shit was worse than a vasectomy.
I see.
Because a vasectomy, I'm asleep. This shit, I'm awake. So I go in my doctor's office. My doctor's a dude, but he got 6 girls in there, right? So he has 6 nurses, and they all know I'm there to go in this room and give a sample, which is basically jack off in a cup.
Yeah, okay. So we, again, whether it's sperm bank donations or what have you, we have heard this before. This is confirmed something that we, the nurses, am I supposed to, I didn't know I was supposed to, a magazine, blah, 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 blah. I didn't want to say the league did it. I've heard it brought up fairly recently, too.
So all these nurses know I'm there to jack.
Again, it's a universal, not necessarily universal, but it's a very highly relatable subject, so there's some crossover, but
Back off,
we're getting close.
which is kind of embarrassing. And then the one nurse is sitting there. She's got the cup on the table. She goes, "Okay, Mr. Owen, all you gotta do is put a sample in the cup. Don't dilute the sample, okay? So, and then just put it on there and then seal it up and blah, blah, blah." That's the
I hope he goes back to clear up what dilute the sample could mean.
doctor talk. She was basically saying nut in a cup. Don't dilute the sample. So no lotion, no saliva.
I see.
That shit's dry. That shit hurt. Plus, how do you nut in a cup? I don't nut like this. I nut straight. Who the fuck nuts at an angle? I could not get that motherfucker in there. I finally had to put my cup on the floor, act like I was in prison shanking a motherfucker. Who you fucking with?
I will not be doing this act amount.
You got me fucked up right now.
Okay.
I was holding it up, die slow, motherfuckers.
It's real interesting. So much of his style I'm noticing. It's kind of long-winded stories that are like chuckle-worthy as he goes, and then they end in a big act-out piece, where the butt of the joke so far, I think, like, of these 3 or 4 big, long sections he's had, 3 of them, we'll say, if there's 5, then 3.5 of them have ended in him doing an impression of something that's very funny, that's very funny, or an act out of like some crazy physical thing, like his shanking somebody on the floor things, an elaborate act out, and I think that's tends to be the punchline, which again is unique because it lends itself directly to the performance aspect of stand-up. I'm not saying the writing's flawed. I've complimented it as we go, but his act outs are like what he really focuses on. It's what he knows is funny about him and what his crowd likes about him. And we've seen tastes, shades of that over the levels, if you will. It's level 15. But over the other specials we've covered, we've seen shades of that. But this is like, he's kind of the epitome of that type of comic, who's building to the act out, the big, boisterous act outs.
Had to seal it up. Then I had to do the male version of the walk of shame. I can honestly say I know what a woman feels like leaving a hotel room at 4 in the morning with the same clothes on. I just got my head down, all the nurses. Bye, Mr. Owen. Not today, please. Good thing about a vasectomy, though, I'll never have that phone call again. Never. Nobody will ever can call me and say, "I'm pregnant." Like my doctor told me, he can't give you a 100% success rate. He's like 98. He's like,
there's people clapping.
"Gary, it's a medical miracle if you ever get a girl pregnant again." I said, "Thanks for that, doc. 98%, I'll take that." So if a girl tried to call me now and say she's pregnant, I might cuss her out. Because I've never cussed out a woman. I've never raised my voice to a woman, but I will. Let a girl try to call me right now, "Gary, I'm pregnant." "Bitch, you lie. It ain't mine, hoe. It ain't mine, hoe." Hang up.
Weird. Did you hear that in the edit? Listen to the way the audio changes there.
Let a girl try to call me right now,
See, it's very present right here. And right before he yells, it changes to, I gotta hear it again.
"Gary, I'm pregnant." "Bitch, you lie. It ain't mine, hoe. It ain't mine, hoe." Hang up.
Did you feel that? I don't know what that was. Maybe because what may have happened is they had the mic sensitivity set you know, in a place that was acceptable for his talking voice. But when he started yelling into the microphone, it peaked it and probably ruined that audio for that track. But they needed to keep it that high so that when he goes back to talking, it can be at that same level where it's still appropriate. And so they must have used like a different mic that didn't catch as much of it. I'm not sure what that was, but I sensed something there. We'll give it one more time. We'll keep moving.
Cussed out a woman. I've never raised my voice to a woman, but I will. I will. Let a girl try to call me right now, you know? Gary, I'm pregnant. Bitch, you lie. It ain't mine, hoe. It ain't mine, hoe. Hang up.
At the word hoe, it cuts back in.
It ain't mine, hoe. It ain't mine, hoe. Hang up. And don't ask
You know? Kind of neither here nor there, but it is interesting.
me why I just hung up like it's 1985. It felt good.
Hung up like it's 1985. That's another thing that's a little more universal joke where it's like, well, we used to, when you were pissed, you could really hang up on a guy, but now you got to be like, fuck you too. So again, trotted material. The flip phone, I'll say, was also good for that.
I feel good. Just slamming that phone down. It don't hit the same. Alexa, off.
See.
Bye, bitch. Off, Alexa. Thank you. You know what I haven't done since I got my vasectomy? I'm going to do it. I ain't done it yet.
What's he gonna do?
I just want to nut my girl's mouth and then look at her and say, does it taste any different? Why did you ask me that?
Smoking my cigarette. Because blowjobs, for sure.
This coffee's decaffeinated now. Maybe you just swallowed Coke Zero. What you talking about? It is a
Made my stomach feel a little funny.
little lighter on my palate, right? People always ask me too, they'd be like, is it hard having, you know, twins at your age? Because my boys are 2 now, so they're toddlers. I'm
Okay.
like, no,
I'm still trying to do the math here.
that's pretty easy. I got a nanny.
He's got a gesturing to his mic stand. And he's like, you gotta take care of these kids?
You know, my ex was mad. That's the only thing my ex been mad about since the divorce was I had a nanny, you know? Because I remember I saw her at the airport. We're pretty cordial now. And I said, well, you know I had twins. She goes, yeah. So I was showing her pictures of the twins. And in one of the pictures, she saw a white leg and a white arm. She goes, who's that? I go, oh, that's a nanny. She goes, you have a nanny? You have a nanny?
Who's, what? Talking to the mom here?
You know, my ex was mad. That's the only thing my ex been mad about since the divorce was I had a nanny.
Oh, must be his baby mother from the previous litter of children.
You know, because I remember I saw her at the airport. We're pretty cordial now. And I said, well, you know I had twins. She goes, yeah. So I was showing her pictures of the twins. And in one of the pictures, she saw a white leg and a white arm. She goes, who's that? I go, oh, that's a nanny. She goes, you have a nanny? You have a nanny? She goes, we don't have a nanny. I said, well, you met me at the wrong time.
Another cheap Zoom. Gary, you know you get invited to Diddy party money. You know you can afford to fucking pay another camera person who knows how to use the Zoom function. All this zooming in post is quite trashy. And I love critiquing the quality of other people's shows by recording raw into my phone.
Hey, man, I ain't getting
The mic I talk into, well, it's not plugged in.
rid of her, motherfucker. And I really wanted a Spanish.
By the way, we're on the home stretch here. We're in the last 15 or so minutes of the comedy special. And I know you're probably feeling a little sad about that, but don't worry. We're going to do a cover song at the end of this performance. As I said earlier, my piano is sort of my Chekhov's gun. And I introduced it in the first act, and it's got to come up in the third.
Speaking nanny is what I wanted. Because I wanted my boys just to be spoken Spanish to by one person the whole time. Because I don't know why we don't start speaking. I don't know why we don't.
Last week we did Blink-182's Damn It. I'll go check it out on my YouTube page, Critical Leaks.
And I really wanted a Spanish-speaking nanny is what I wanted. Because I wanted my boys just to be spoken Spanish to by one person the whole time. Because I don't know why we don't start speaking, I don't know why we don't start teaching Spanish like in kindergarten and first grade. I don't understand that. We can't wait till 9th grade.
The podcast cringe fans are not going to like that.
That's dumb.
That's American Read Act talk.
Especially for boys, because our cerebral cortex is closed. We can't pick that shit up. I took Spanish for 3 years in high school. I can't speak Spanish. I can count to 8, and I know colors. That's it.
Just caught myself looking over my shades doing the bitch please.
Ocho, rojo, azul, amarillo. I don't even say black. That's too close. Fuck you, I'm gonna get a 9 out of 10 on the Spanish test.
Okay.
Because I remember when I was in 9th grade, I was taking the Spanish test. Miss Rodriguez was holding them goddamn colors up. I was killing that shit. Rojo, azul, amarillo, blanco, verde. I was like, you missed one, Gary. No, I didn't. Go ahead and give me that B+. I'm going to take it.
Hi, I am.
Hi. Oh, boy. Oh, that motherfucker got a big old dent in his head. Not making fun of the guy. It's just an observation. I got him too.
So when we was looking for a nanny, we had to go through an agency. So the agency sent us like 3 different options. So we had to give each woman a week. So the first week, we had a middle-aged white lady. She was great. She was probably in her late 50s. And the second week, they sent the Spanish lady, right? So you don't know what's coming until they knock on your door. So Monday morning, I get a knock on the door. I answer the door, and it's this little Spanish girl. And she had to be 25, 26. She had a tattoo on her neck. She had a whole sleeve. She had these goddamn Lululemon sweats with that fucking fat ass. I was like, are they trying to set me up? Looking around for hidden cameras. They must have known about my past or something. And Monday,
trying to set me. I see.
Tuesday, she was great. She was speaking Spanish to the boys. I go, we might keep her. Wednesday morning, I woke up. I'll never forget. I poured a cup of coffee. I go in the kitchen. I'm looking.
I wonder what this is gonna. It was funny because if I find a comedian more predictable at this point in the act, I can start to call their shots a little bit. Where from their setup, and this is proven, there's receipts. Check out the old episodes, level 1 through 14. I'll start calling Asana Mana was particularly on. He's a little more amateur, so it's, not a huge feather in my cap there. But where I can start to call the punchlines as they're setting it up. And credit to Gary Owen. I might not love every story he's told, but I don't know where he's going to go with this one. And it seems like one that you should, because it's a well-told setup where you're like, oh, what did you find when you walked into the kitchen that day?
I'll never forget. I poured a cup of coffee. I go in the kitchen. I'm looking in the living room. I look over. She got both my boys on the ground changing their diapers, but she's bent over. So I know she had a tramp stamp. She got the tattoo back there. She got another pair of Lululemon sweats on. That ass was looking at me. I was like, oh, she just got fired.
Just kind of staring at that. Oh, she just got fired.
They set me up, motherfucker. Fuck you. I'm trying to be a good dude, but I'm still a dude. That's all I need is one day it's just me and her at the house. The boys are taking a nap.
Confirmed it is fog.
I'm having a dumbass conversation. So, where'd you get your tattoos? That's some nice work right there. You got any more? All of a sudden I get that phone call. I'm pregnant.
Seriously, was this shot in goddamn 720p?
I'm like, I got a vasectomy. She goes, oh, that don't work on us.
Oh, I see.
You got a white black girl vasectomy. You ain't get a Latina vasectomy.
I see.
I'll be calling my doc. Doc, you said it was 98% successful. She Spanish? Yeah. Ooh, that's 42% for Latinos.
It's 42%. I see.
98 for everybody else, but 42% for the Latinos.
I see. Weird, because he kind of set him up. He's kind of set himself up to do like some kind of math joke there. Like, well, that's 2% for you. Well, that's something. Say 98%, but that's 42%. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll say his crowd loves him, but I don't think they love him for his writing necessarily. He's got that physical charisma.
The boys are here now, though. What are you gonna do? It's funny too, because when you get When you get a black girl pregnant,
But thinking about what Jake was saying, it would be good to have something. I'm limited on what I can do, not financially, mind you, because I got it like that. But I don't know, I don't want it to impede too much of the background because it's a vibe, you know. I'm aura farming, as we say in the looks maxing community. You just got mogged, but something to that effect. I could take like a symbol, put it. Side. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Like I said, Jake, I appreciate your input, man.
I just assumed my two boys would look mixed. No. One of my boys is white, one of my boys is black. And I'm an overthinker, so I worry about the white one a lot. I do.
Kind of a hard edit there, but you couldn't really pick it up in audio, so it's clean.
Because I don't want him to get older. I don't want him to start using the N-word. I don't want black people looking at him sideways. The fuck you say? He got to carry a picture of his mom around. It's my mama, man. We good, relax.
With the Drew Nickens going on.
His brother's right there. That's my twin dog. He's certified A1 Day 1. I see the paperwork.
Alright.
It's wild, too, because they just turned 2, but the white one already acts white, and the black one already acts black already. It's weird how they know.
Okay, go on.
Babies are smart. Because I was a little worried in the
Babies are smart. That's funny.
beginning, man, because when they were learning how to walk, it took them forever, man. They just couldn't get their gait down. I thought something might be wrong because they just wouldn't bend their knees. It was like for 6 months, they was all walking around the house like it was Forrest Gump, just sitting there. Bend your goddamn knees. We had
Just wouldn't been there. Okay, I was like, it was Forrest Gump.
these walkers. If you put
I gotta say it. I mean, for Gen Xers, it'll be fine, but I don't know. Gump references are probably gonna start feeling very, Gone with the Wind, Legends of the Fall. Like movies you would hear about as millennials. We'd like hear about these classic movies, and unless you're like a movie buff and you go back and watch them, or you've got some nerdy friend or something. It just kind of gets solidified as like one of those old sounding movies. And I feel like Forrest Gump is probably on that list. It's like right there with like Good Will Hunting and stuff. That was, little before, people who remember when Shyamalan like had a good reputation. I think we're the last bastion of people you'll be able to make Forrest Gump jokes for.
put my boys
Beyond cinephiles.
in the walkers, they used to be flying around the house.
CD, never mind.
But it was funny because if you put the white one in his walker, the second you drop in the walker, he just takes off, doing circles around the couch, yelling, screaming, having the time of his life. Ah! You put a black one in his walker, he don't go nowhere. He'll be sitting there looking at the white one, like, where you going?
It's kind of doing, where are you going?
It's the same couch. And the black one would look at me like, he ain't going nowhere, Dad. And the white one just won't stop. But like if the doorbell would ring, like Amazon would come to the door, the white one would stop around the couch, look at the door, beeline to the door, be smiling, waving at the Amazon driver. The black one, cautious as fuck.
I don't know. Creeping up to the door.
Even when the Amazon driver would leave, the white one would stay at the door, wave at him, smile until he gets in the van. The black one, to this day, I don't know how he did it. Taught himself how to walk backwards. All right.
Alright.
Like, if their personalities maintain at the rate they're going, I can see them getting older, going to college. I can see the white one going to a frat party, jumping off the roof into a pool.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna do a little William Elliott Whitmore cover at the end of this, just to honor the sort of Southern man approach.
Doing keg stands, shotgun, and beers. And I can see the black one at the same frat party, still sitting back looking at the white one.
Kind of.
Been like this his whole life, dog. Hey, I love that motherfucker, but he a wild boy, man. He a wild boy. Hey, real talk, we was babies. He was getting his walker and just run around the motherfucking house, man. Wasn't going nowhere. Just gotta let that motherfucker live, man. This is how he is, yeah. Yeah, you got a pool? Yeah, he gonna jump off the roof, trust. He gonna jump off the roof. Told you.
Told you.
Be weird.
Really funny. Also, you know, I don't love it, but well-timed ad. You waited until the funny was over. Let me get my laughs out, and then you're like, time to get paid.
And you know, but here's the thing, man. I'm glad my boys are here, but that was kind of
Okay. We'll stumble on that transition, but he's coming up to the final bit. We're in the last 10 minutes of the home stretch here.
irresponsible on my part. I knew I should have
Which means it should be about an hour and a half left worth of show.
pulled out.
I'm joshing.
I'm too old to be making irresponsible moves like that. You know, like you know, my age, I knew better. You know what I mean? You know, but you know, because at my age, listen, there's no premature ejaculation. You know when it's gonna happen. You know, your body's always talking to you. Premature ejaculation, that's like a teenage
Your body's always talking to you.
term. You know, that's why there's so many teenage pregnancies, because teenage boys never know when they're gonna finish. Them motherfuckers hit a nipple. At my age, when you pump it,
Again, it's just really debasing me here.
you can feel the shit percolating. Your body's talking to you.
Is that where based comes from? Is it the opposite of being debased? Come to the land of the ice and snow.
You be looking at the girl like, if you're trying to change positions, do it now. We got about 10 to 12 more pumps, and this is a wrap. We are not going into overtime. This will end in regulation.
Okay. We're not going to talk about that Zeppelin thing you just did?
See, listen,
Hey, that's Zeppelin?
even I was in the middle of doing
I really think I know it from School of Rock.
it. Have
I like Zeppelin. Brown album. I think it was Brown album. Fucked. I haven't heard a whole lot of Zeppelin.
my brain
My parents were not Zeppelin people.
was trying to tell
Billy Joel guy.
me. Half my brain was like, get her! Get out of there! You too old, bruh! And the other half was like, hey, fuck what he talking about. This shit feel good. Treat yourself. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. I believe that is a direct Parks and Recreation reference that you see all over the internet now. Lots of people are making treat yourself references, which, you know, sweet. Parks and Rec fucked.
What you listen to him for?
I think the only thing Parks and Rec was like guilty of was a rare occurrence of choosing to end too soon. I think, you know, there's probably cast issues, blah, blah, blah. I just mean narratively and as far as like the overall public opinion of the show. I mean, it was still at its height when they decided to like bring it down for a landing, and they did the thing where they really speared the Blob, where so to speak, if you've ever watched Fat Camp, they really speared the Blob because they like, I think they did like a they got old thing or something. They really punctuated it like, no, that's the end of the story, we're not rebooting. Futurama has come back after things like that multiple times at this point, but yeah, I feel like, you know, where The Office, some people would argue The Office went on a little too long. I would argue by that same metric, Parks and Rec cut it off a little quick. But I haven't rewatched the series in so long. For a while, I mean, it was I'd be rotating American Dad, The Office, Parks and Rec. Back when Netflix was where you found everything.
Welcome back. I am going to treat
It wasn't on Netflix. It was just lost media for a while.
myself. I deserve this. I work really hard.
Hulu started popping up, and it was like, is that Mike, Lou, and Og on the island?
Treated myself to 18 years times 2. But that's why, you know what? That's why I appreciate women so much, man. Because a woman can get pregnant, and she can call all her her girlfriends, and it'd be nothing but love and support on the other end of that phone. Girls really be supporting their homegirls, man. Because a girl can get pregnant, she can call her girlfriend. She's like, hey, what are you doing? Nothing, what are you doing? Nothing. You're not going to believe this. I'm pregnant. Oh my God, congratulations. No, you don't understand. I'm really
It was a weird cut too. The audio's getting a little funky here at the end.
scared.
But again, who the fuck am I to talk?
No, no, you are an amazing woman. You will be an amazing mother. Yeah.
Clapped her. I'm sure. Okay, we agree vaguely.
Dudes ain't like that. First dude I called, I wish I wouldn't have called. Some bitch had me thinking conspiracy theories and shit. I said, hey man, I got this
You sure it's yours?
girl pregnant. You think she set you up? I go, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I think she sets you up. That's worse.
No, she didn't set me up, man. I'm literally, I nutted in her. I could have left at any moment. You know? I mean, seriously, what was she gonna do? Lock me in and shit? Like, nah, Gary, you ain't going nowhere tonight.
See, okay, kind of the act out where he like lashes on with the legs or whatever, but that's so familiar. Some of this is almost like a pool filter a little bit, where it's just kind of taking some of the stuff that's floated to the top. You know, it performs an important function, but every now and again, the stuff that's going in there is just like surface level, your dead leaves and the like. He's ending in a little stool humping here again, a little Rogan-esque.
Let me go. Let me go.
I see.
I don't want another baby. I don't want another.
Okay, that's where the Led Zeppelin thing went.
And I don't like that term, unexpected pregnancy. I hear that term a lot when people say that shit. Well, that was an unexpected pregnancy.
What did you expect?
Some people say that shit about me. I go, no, not at her. That should be expected. An
Again, another repeat there. They're like, no, I didn't think she set me up. I know it.
unexpected pregnancy is if you nut in an esophagus or a belly button.
Okay.
That would be unexpected. I got a couple buddies that got belly button babies.
Pretty funny.
I pulled out, not in time, motherfucker. Like I said, there were some extenuating circumstances of why I didn't pull out. Because I remember the night it happened. When she called me, I knew exactly the night that I got her pregnant. Because we were in Italy. I had never been to Italy. I wanted to go. I'm a girl, so you want to go to Italy?
Okay.
She had never been to Italy. So we get to Italy. First night we're there, we're in Rome. And listen, if I fly a girl to Italy, we're going to fuck the first night. That's why I brought you. I didn't bring you to see the Vatican. This is not a religious retreat. I brought you to fuck.
Smoking my cig. We almost there? I'll have another one then.
And most girls know that.
Fuck, I miss cigarettes.
Yeah, because you don't want to be that girl that got left in...
I quit 2 years ago now or so. I still have my last full pack sitting there all wrapped up in cellophane, looking delicious at all times. That's how I know I'm like... It's a testament to my strength as someone that quit smokes, because at any time I could. I'm just like, nah, bitch. But, oh, you miss it. You miss it before it does all the stuff that, makes folks hate your voice. Right, David?
in St. Croix last summer. I don't know if you guys heard about this story. There's an NBA player. His name's DeAndre Ayton. He flew this girl to St. Croix, and she got over to St. Croix, and she didn't want to sleep with him when they got over there. He left her ass there. And she deserved to get left. The audacity of her. And then she made
Jasleen Singh's not gonna like this.
an Instagram post and acted like it was DeAndre's fault, like he's a bad dude. She goes, I'm stuck in St. Croix because DeAndre Ayton flew me over here and I didn't want to have sex with him, so he left me here. I'm looking at her Instagram post like, bitch, if you don't get on your knees.
This took a fucking weird turn, dude.
Say thank you, DeAndre, for this.
You know what? This has rattled me in such a way. I need to go have me a final piddle. But again, we will soon be embarking into William Elliott Whitmore's song "Lift My Jug." Be just a short matter of time. Currently waiting for the ad previous to my pause music to end. It is about 4 seconds from doing so. Vamping, vamping, vamping. And we're back. I will be back in just a little bit. It's a quick one. Don't go far. Bard Fox. Coming on back. Making our way back. Thanks. Cool. That is Starveld. That is by the channel Bard Fox over on YouTube. Go give him a like, a subscribe, and all that. It's the second song we've heard. First was Nauticopala. This one is Starveld.
And I didn't want to have sex with him, so he left me here. I'm looking at her Instagram post like, bitch, if you don't get on your knees and say thank you, DeAndre, for this amazing vacation.
Woo!
That's all she had to do. Suck him off a couple times, ride him a couple times. She'd have been on jet skis all week.
This would be the point in the conversation where I'm like, we're at a traffic light, my guy. I'll close my window and just hotbox this cigarette now.
Sunbathing on yachts, eating grapes like this. But now she's on her iPad looking for international flights on Spirit. Spirit don't fly international, ho. I hope she's still in St. Croix.
Spirit don't fly international, ho. I hope she's still in St. Croix. Most unique sentence I've heard all day.
Most girls ain't stupid. They know what time it is. Shit. There's girls in here right now. Got flown to Philly.
Oh god, I don't know. It took a fucking turn, bro.
You know what time it was when you got to Philadelphia? The funny part is ain't nobody say bullshit. Everybody just went, that's a long drive though.
You mean the crowd? Like no one called him out?
I don't know what I would have did if my girl would have told me no the first night we're in Italy. We just been on a 12-hour.
You should know. You should know what you would do.
Flight. We in Rome.
What are the alternatives, my man?
Home. First night you gonna tell me no? Ooh. I might have walked over to the Coliseum like I could see why they killed motherfuckers here back in the day.
Scary. It's more like fucking scary, Owen.
They should reopen this shit for a couple hours. Now, my girl knew what time it was, but that's why I didn't pull out.
That's another fucking freaky way to put that. You knew what would have happened.
Oh, motherfucker. I'm in Italy. It's my first night. I don't even know this. I pulled back the curtain of my hotel. I got a balcony. My balcony is looking at the Coliseum. So my first night in Italy, I left my door open on the balcony. That Italian air is flowing through the room. I'm looking at the Coliseum. It's all lit up.
Yeah, boy.
Got my girl bent over the bed. She got a fat ass, skinny waist. I was looking at the Coliseum.
I was looking at the Coliseum.
Looking at that ass.
That ass.
I was looking at the Coliseum. I was looking at that ass. I don't know why I started thinking of my stepdad, Rodney. I was like, yeah, who's gay now, motherfucker?
There it is. See? Payoff.
This look that gay to you? This look that gay to you?
I didn't love it, but it's a good callback, and it connects. Moreover, like a good callback should, especially a third act, like a closer, good callback, a good callback would, is it's connecting acts 1 and 3 and tying everything together in a snug little bundle, making this one cohesive piece.
I knew I wasn't pulling out that night. That was childhood trauma coming out of me.
Like we all know, callbacks can work really well, but I think that's part of the reason why. It connects all of these seemingly unrelated concepts, but hey, remember this thing.
Hitting that shit so hard. The problem was, I looked at the Coliseum too long. I thought I was Russell Crowe for about 45 seconds. I was hitting.
Are you not entertained?
That shit. My name is Maximus Sirius, and I will have my revenge in this life or the next. She was like, what the
In this life or the next.
fuck?
It's a better reference to the movie. Usually you're going to go, are you not entertained, if it's a gladiator joke, but I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. It's a little more of a deep cut there.
But as soon as I finished, reality came rushing back. I was like, huh, looking like you.
Pointed to someone off camera here.
I was like, what?
Camera guy didn't make any effort to show us who he was talking about. So.
I think I took that movie too far. I forgot he died at the end.
Spoiler.
And you know how guys are, when we know we messed up, we try to rationalize shit in our brain. I go, no, we should be good, we should be good. Yeah, because we American, we in Italy. I don't think 2 Americans can get pregnant in Italy.
Silly.
I was looking at my watch. According to the time change, it's 8:45 in the morning back home. You can't get pregnant on the way to work.
Okay, kind of the same again. Sort of a repeater, but...
Yeah. But that's why I didn't. That's the reason I did not pull out of my twins here, because I was in Rome. I was, you know, like a.
Okay, so I guess the whole thing was backstory for the twins.
If I'd have been I don't know. If I'd have been at a.
He took a random girl to Italy? He's got it like that. That is Diddy Party money.
Holiday Inn Express.
Invite to Diddy Party money, to be clear.
Express and Laurel. I definitely would have pulled out.
Go back, I stepped on him.
You know. Like if I'd have been I don't know. If I'd have been at a Holiday Inn Express in Laurel.
In Laurel, okay.
I definitely would have pulled out. Not in me! I am about to nut you at a Holiday Inn Express in Laurel, man. Not bringing a child into the world under these circumstances.
Circumstances. It's a little like Gaffigan-esque. His like voice we kind of rely on. You know, it's the straw man voice. They're like, what are you talking about? His Gaffigan thing that he does. So his like, I'm about to get pregnant at a Holiday Inn in Laurel, whatever.
Out into the world under these circumstances.
Circumstances. It's familiar to me, but I don't think he like stole it. I think it's just kind of something I do a little.
Why are people looking around like, I know where that Holiday Inn is? I went there for my junior homecoming. I've never seen a whole crowd go, yeah, that's off the Beltway. Right by the firehouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laurel must be somewhere near there. It's like a little fan service for the locals.
That pussy was good though, man.
It was good.
Yo, that pussy was so good though. I named one of my twins Rome.
Pretty sweet. Which one?
Yeah. I'm so glad I didn't fuck her in Anacostia. That'd been a weird name for a little boy, little Anacostia Owen. Sound like somebody be in Jelly Roll's band and shit.
Roma Owen is, I mean,
Yeah, tonight on the
it's a lot of vowels.
guitar, we got Anacostia Owen. Thank you, Jelly.
podcast, do you owe it phonetically?
So when the show's
Ooh, he's walking off stage and grabbing something from behind the curtain here. Spotlight's kind of vaguely following him. Swing and a miss, lighting guy.
over, we do a meet and greet, and then I got
Okay, it wasn't a spotlight. Never mind. It's a ball.
I got T-shirts I sell. I know this is a little.
Tacky as fuck.
Well, most people don't do this on their specials, but I got alimony. So
This has to be a joke. Like the last minute, literal, we're in the 56:02 of 57:17. There's no way that the last minute of his special, with 1 million views in 1 week, is him selling fucking T-shirts. I want one.
these are court order T-shirts right here. So even if you didn't like my special night, Gary, I didn't think you were that funny tonight, but you still want to support a black woman. This is how you do it right here.
That's funny.
Stand
I mean, like, you know, a funny commercial is still a commercial, but it was funny.
strong with your queens, ladies. She is out here by herself.
Jake in the chat says he has a comedian recommendation. If I'm into that, yes, please, man. Yeah, we very well may end up, if they have a special, we may end up covering them soon. Yeah, drop that thing.
Yeah, so the T-shirt, it's not gilded. She can wear it more than once.
Ooh, shots fired, Gildan. Yikes.
So it's just my podcast is called Get Some, and that's
This is a simultaneous T-shirt salesman pitch, along with a plug for his podcast. This is, if nothing else, points for being weirdly unique.
my face on the shirt. Because somebody, one night, I was showing my T-shirt, and they was like, hey, man, you got a black face on your shit. I go, it's great.
The recommendation is Sam Miller. Let me grab my pen real quick. Sam Miller. He said he has a special on YouTube. You know what, man? Based on your contributions to the show today alone, we'll definitely be checking them out. I appreciate you, dude. It's been fun hanging out with you. And you're a funny motherfucker.
Ray, stop trying to start
You're
shit.
giving Gary Owen a run for his money.
You can't put a white face on a white shirt. You wouldn't see the face.
We'll go back a little bit. I kind of stepped out his joke here.
Shit. I go, it's gray. Stop trying to start shit. You can't
Oh, I see.
put my face on the shirt. Because somebody, one night, I was showing my T-shirt, and they was like, hey, man, you got a black face on your shit. I go, it's gray. Stop trying to start shit.
Okay.
You can't put a white face on a white shirt. You wouldn't see the face. What I'm going to do is put a white face on a white shirt. You only see my eyebrows and lips.
That's funny.
All right, but no, we had a choice to film the special, and I said I really want to do it in D.C. because this is where I kind of started my life at. So I'm so glad we did it here, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm Gary. Thank you. Good night. Thank you.
All right, that is the end of that special. Gary Owen, Get Some. Wait, no, Gary Owen, No Hard Feelings. It was written and performed by Gary Owen. Executive producer, Gary Owen. Director, Adam Fink. I don't think we've seen that name yet. Adam Fink, produced by Lucas Miller. Wonder if it's any relation to Sam. LOL. Daymare Pictures, Ask Lisa. And that's the end of the credits. Cool. Well, we had a great time today. I think Gary Owen is an interesting comedian because, as I was saying earlier, most of what I think was funniest about him, at least, was his act-em-outs. Really, really, really funny the way that he, you know, he knows how to contort his body. He's aware of himself enough to know what's funny during act-outs, because they can be absolutely cringe-worthy as fuck. If somebody fucks up an act-out, it can really, really put a damper on the mood. Or if they do a voice and no one reacts well to it, it doesn't feel good. As a crowd member or as a performer. Trust me. So, ratings-wise, I give this 6 bags of on cinema at the cinema-esque popcorn. Because ratings, I mean, let's be honest, they don't really mean shit. So, without further ado, this is William Elliott Whitmore's Lift My Jug. I don't care about my sorrow, and I don't care about my woe. On my knees down in the sand, down where that river flows, 'cause my name, it is Jippo, and my home, that's wherever I lay. I was born to ride these rails, born to ride these rails till Judgment Day. And my face wrinkled and weary, it's fucking rough as a railroad tie. And is that number 9 come rolling by? I lift my jug to the sky. I said I lift my jug to the sky. Oh Lord, I lift my jug to the sky. And is that train come rumbling through this town? I lift my jug to the sky. 'Cause I don't care about my sorrow, I don't care about my woes. On my knees down in the sand, down where that river flows. 'Cause I was an engineer, I made my living out here shoveling coal. Paid my dues for 12 long years, and that's right about when they let me go. And times they sure were rough, and the labor sure took its toll. See my lungs, they're as black as the feathers of a goddamn crow. And I'm sleeping underneath the trestle with my jug of the homemade rye. And when that train come rumbling through this town, I lift my jug to the sky. I said I lift my jug to the sky. Oh Lord, I lift my jug to the sky. And as that train come rumbling through this town, I lift my jug to the sky. Let's whistle. Because I lift my jug to the sky, oh Lord, I lift my jug to the sky. And as that train come rumbling through this town, I lift my jug to the sky. I said I lift my jug to the sky. I lift my jug to this guy. Thanks for hanging out, Jake. Appreciate you, David Camp. Thank you, everyone. Follow me on Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube. This has been Critical Leaks. And in the meantime, be nice.